Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Everyone changes their job. Is the Deathsinger a rubbish job? Chapter 1. The wind is howling. Yongjing City, Yongjing Number 9 War God University, on the roof of a teaching building. At this moment, a young man is lying on the railing of the roof silently, looking at the prosperous city in the distance. I don't know what he is thinking. The 18-year-old young man, 1.8 meters tall, slightly thin, wearing a blue and white school uniform. The young man has a neat short hair, sunny and handsome appearance. At this moment, his face is a little serious. Tomorrow is the day of professional awakening. To be honest, Yi Shu is a little looking forward to it, and a little nervous. Strictly speaking, Yi Shu is not from this world, he comes from Earth. With the memory of his previous life, he was reborn in this world. This is a digital world. This world has unimaginable high technology and suffocating monsters. In this world, you can embark on the road of strength by awakening your profession. You can obtain equipment and materials through secret realms, dungeons, and hunting monsters, and upgrade and strengthen yourself. In this world, there are all kinds of professions. When awakening different professions, you will have different skills and can take different paths. It can be said that everyone's future is related to the awakened profession. In this world, all professions can be roughly divided into 3 categories. 1. Combat professions. Combat professions include swordsmen, mages, berserkers, archers, gunners, snipers, etc. These professions are the most important professions for combat members. 2. Auxiliary professions. Auxiliary professions include doctors, pharmacists, alchemists, amplifiers, miners, foundries, etc. This type of profession actually exists to assist combat professions. 3. Life professions. Life professions include chefs, appraisers, repairmen, etc. Changing to different professions will have different ways out. For example, changing to a combat profession will be vigorously cultivated by the country. Because, in this world, the main force to resist the invasion of monsters is actually the combat professions of humans. As for the second type of auxiliary professions, they will also be carefully cultivated by the country. After all, they can better assist combat professions in fighting. The third category is basically ordinary people, who can only serve as backup in the base and do a good job in grassroots construction. Among these 3 types of professions, the most popular one is the combat profession. If you want to become a real strong man and look down on the world, you can only choose the combat profession. In this world, everyone can awaken once when they are 18 years old. Before the age of 18, learn various cultural knowledge and practice physical fitness to prepare. After the age of 18, once the awakening is successful, you will start the real road of growth. Go to the wild to fight monsters, snipe monsters, brush dungeons, secret realms. By then, there will be very little time to learn cultural knowledge. Tomorrow is the day of awakening. Yi Shu leaned on the railing and clenched his fists. I must make a name for myself. Yi Shu stared into the distance and said secretly. This is not only for himself, but also for Grandpa. In this world, Yi Shu was born into a happy family. But, when he was 5 years old, his parents divorced for various reasons. After their divorce, they both disliked Yi Shu as a burden. Shu, when Mom settles down, I will come to pick you up, wait for me. That year, his mother hugged him and cried miserably. Finally, she reluctantly got on a man's car and never came back since then. Later, Yi Shu heard that his mother married a rich man and gave birth to a very cute daughter, living a happy life. Yi Shu, Dad is gone, don't worry, when Dad has money, he will definitely come back to pick you up. In less than a month, his father, who was drinking all day, also packed his bags and boarded the train to leave his hometown. He never came back after that. Later, according to his uncle who returned from the south, his father went south to a big city and married a rich girl. In order to conceal his past of having a family, he never contacted anyone in his hometown for so many years, and never sent a penny to Yi Shu. Yi Shu was able to grow up this big thanks to his grandfather. At the beginning, they left cruelly and didn't want Yi Shu, leaving the 5-year-old Yi Shu to his grandfather to raise. At first, they would send some money to his grandfather every month, but later, as time went by, there was no news. Fortunately, Yi Shu's grandfather awakened to a profession as a doctor. Although his level was not high and he was old, he couldn't do big things. But with the means of a doctor, it was still possible to support Yi Shu. But just a year ago, this kind of life was broken. A huge monster broke the city's energy shield and attacked Yanjing City. Although the monster was eventually suppressed by the country, its fierce attack triggered an earthquake in Yanjing. The earthquake affected the residence of Yi Shu and his grandson. In that earthquake, Grandpa's legs were broken by the rubble. This made their already tight life even more difficult. Because Grandpa was seriously injured, many of his medical skills could not be used. Suddenly, the income source of the grandfather and grandson was cut off. If it were not for the state subsidy, Yi Shu might not even be able to afford to go to school. Yi Shu has consulted a lot of information. He knows that in this world, there is a medicine called Dragon Blood Potion, which can regenerate broken limbs. It can even restore a certain amount of blood and qi to the elderly with aging blood and prolong their lifespan. Since then, Yi Shu secretly vowed that he must find a way to get the Dragon Blood Potion to let Grandpa stand up again. Grandpa has suffered too much in his life. Yi Shu does not want Grandpa to spend his later years in a wheelchair. He not only wants Grandpa to stand up, but also wants him to live a good life. Ding. Congratulations, host. Your personal system binding has reached 100%. Do you want to activate it? At this moment, a voice sounded in Yi Shu's mind. System. Yi Shu, who was lying on the railing, was stunned, and then suddenly became alert. He said excitedly, System, this is the standard equipment for time travelers. Do I have it too? After 18 years, you are finally here. Activate for me. Yi Shu almost shouted out excitedly. It's so hard to awaken such a good thing, how can it be wasted? Ding. Congratulations host, your system has been activated and officially put into use. Ding. Golden Egg System is officially at your service. Golden Egg System. Yi Shu hesitated for a moment and immediately checked the system. He had to figure out the function of this system. When Yi Shu opened the system panel. Golden Egg System. System capability. The host can get different items by smashing golden eggs. Items include potions, props, equipment, drawings, skills, pet eggs, cards, etc. System description. The host can get the opportunity to smash golden eggs by completing the tasks issued by the system. Currently available golden eggs. 5 1-star golden eggs. Golden eggs will be refreshed every day, and the star level of golden eggs will be randomly generated. You can also refresh golden eggs according to system prompts after completing tasks. When the golden eggs are refreshed on the same day, the star level will definitely be upgraded. Currently available number of egg smashes. 1. Activate the system, and get a free golden egg smash opportunity. Current system tasks. None. This system. After reading the introduction of the system, Yi Shu was ecstatic. This system can be said to be very powerful. This is a system with a high lower limit and a high upper limit. If you are lucky, you can smash out a heaven-defying prop and take off directly. You know, the items in this golden egg include almost all the good things, and even skills. Since there is a free opportunity, I might as well try it out. What good things can this golden egg give me? Yi Shu's heart moved. Yi Shu is a decisive person. He does it as soon as he thinks. Looking at the 5 golden eggs available in the system, although they are all 1-star golden eggs, he is also full of expectations. Then, he chose to use the opportunity to smash the golden egg without hesitation. Choose one of the 5 golden eggs. Crack. As the hammer fell, the golden egg shattered. After the golden egg cracked, a bottle of potion appeared inside. Congratulations to the host, you have cracked a 1-star golden egg and won a 1-star super power strengthening potion as a reward. Super power strengthening potion. Yi Shu was stunned. He had heard of strengthening potions, but this was the first time he had heard of super power strengthening potion. Let's take a look at the instructions for this thing first. Then, Yi Shu immediately opened the instructions for this strengthening potion. Strengthening potion 1-star. After drinking it, you can greatly strengthen your body once. Strengthen your body. Yi Shu was stunned. Over the years, for the goal in his heart, he worked hard every day to train his body to prepare for awakening. After years of hard training, his physical fitness reached the standard of the first level physique a year ago. Level 1 physique has surpassed ordinary people and is considered very strong. Level 1 physique requires strength, speed, endurance, jumping, running, and reaction to reach a certain standard. And the most straightforward standard for measuring level 1 physique is that the punching force must reach 1,000 pounds. And this goal was achieved by Yishu a year ago. He is also one of the few students in the entire 9th college who has reached level 1 physique before awakening. No matter, since it is a strengthening potion, there is no problem. As long as it is good for me, drink it first. Finally, Yishu made a decision, picked up the bottle of light blue potion, and drank it directly with his head tilted back. Who would dislike his weak physical fitness? After drinking the potion, Yishu only felt a burst of heat all over his body, and his whole body seemed to be expanding. The next moment, his arms were actually getting thicker, and his muscles were slightly bulging. Fortunately, the change was not too big, and it only lasted for a few seconds before stopping. Fortunately it stopped. Yishu didn't want to become a muscular man with a big waist and thick arms. So strong. After the change ended, at this moment, Yishu felt that he seemed to have endless strength. At this moment, he was much stronger than before, and the muscles on his arms were obviously much thicker. Yishu clenched his fists. At this moment, he was more looking forward to awakening. Brother Shu, something bad has happened, something bad has happened. At this moment, an anxious voice sounded in the corridor, and then a fat figure climbed all the way from the corridor entrance to the top floor. Yishu looked back at the person coming, turned around and leaned on the iron railing, smiled, and said, "Fatty, why are you so anxious? Your wife has been robbed." The man who ran up from the corridor was about 1.7 meters tall, but he didn't look like he weighed 200 pounds, but he was almost there, and he looked plump. This fat man was called Chen Fei, one of the few friends of Yishu. They had been in the same school since elementary school, and he had a good relationship with Yishu. Who? Chen Fei ran up all the way, holding the wall, taking deep breaths, and then said, Brother Shu, something bad has happened. Sister Ran has been blocked in the playground by Zhang Muhao and others." What? Yishu's face changed, and he quickly walked towards Chen Fei, looked at him and said, "Fatty, tell me clearly, what's going on?" Chen Fei took a deep breath, and finally recovered. He put his hands on his waist and said, "Just now, Zhang Muhao confessed to Sister Ran again. Isn't that his usual operation?" Yishu frowned and said, "Today is different." Chen Fei waved his hand and said, "Today, after he was rejected by Sister Ran, he kept pestering Sister Ran. Sister Ran was impatient and taught him a lesson. You know, Sister Ran is a first-level physique, and that pretty boy is no match for her. After he was beaten by Sister Ran, he found a group of people and blocked Sister Ran on the playground, saying that if Sister Ran didn't agree to him today, he would kill Sister Ran on the spot." Yishu's face changed. Zhang Muhao dared to touch Lin Ran. After that, he said directly, "If he dares to touch Lin Ran today, I will beat him to pieces. I have strong teeth. Let's go." Chen Fei bent over, panting, and said, Brother Shu, go first, let me take a breath and come." "Stop talking nonsense, follow me." Yishu dragged Chen Fei and ran straight to the stairs. "Brother Shu, I just climbed to the top of the 20th floor, let me catch my breath." "Bah, you're tired after 20 floors. How can you awaken? Hurry up." Brother Shu, pull gently, it's going to crack, it's really cracked." In the corridor, Chen Fei's wailing came. "Zhang Muhao, you fool, what do you want to do?" In a corner of the playground, a group of people blocked a girl in the corner. A crisp girl shouted coldly, "Nothing, I just want you to be my woman." "Bah, get out of here, are you worthy of being my man?" The girl glanced at them and said lightly, "Senior sister, Brother Zhang is not worthy, what about me?" That's right, I'm not bad either." "Senior sister, is it that Brother Zhang can't satisfy you? Then I can do it." A group of people started to make a noise. "You are looking for death," the girl said coldly. "Haha, senior sister, you scared us to death." Following the crowd, you can see the girl among them. This is a girl wearing a school uniform and a short skirt. This girl has a nearly perfect figure, almost impeccable. Her waist-length hair is loose, her appearance is flawless, especially her big eyes, which are extremely watery. She is Lin Ran, one of the 3 school beauties of the 9th God of War University. At this moment, she was surrounded by a group of people. Lin Ran, I said once at the end, when my woman. In the crowd, a person spoke. The person who spoke was not high, his nose was swollen, and his hair was messy. It seemed that he had just been beaten. He was Zhang Muhao, a guy who had been tangled Lin Ran for a year. He couldn't get angry. He found a group of fox friends and dog friends, blocked Lin Ran, and did not pretend to be sacred. He directly showed his original face. At this moment, he looked at Lin Ran with a blue face and said fiercely, Lin Ran, you, Lao Su has been chasing you for so long, you a woman who has a good face for his face, even if you go out to watch a movie at night, otherwise. Quote, quote. Otherwise, Lin Ran looked at him coldly. Zhang Muhao's eyes turned cold, and he lost his patience at this moment. He looked at Lin Ran and said, Lin Ran, why are you so arrogant? Believe it or not, I will force you today. Hee, yes, force. Brother Zhang, do we have a share? Count me in, I haven't played with a school beauty yet. The group of people looked at the graceful and slender Lin Ran, licking their lips and saying, no problem. Zhang Muhao frowned, although he was very unhappy, but still said, as long as you take her down, everyone will have fun. Zhang Muhao, I think you are itching for trouble. If you dare to touch her, I will castrate you. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Seeing this person, Lin Ran's warm mouth corners slightly raised, and her smile made the people around her dumbfounded. Lin Ran rarely smiles, but when she smiles, she is absolutely beautiful. The person who spoke was Yi Shu. Yi Shu and Chen Fei walked towards this side. Seeing that Lin Ran was fine, he was also relieved. Seeing Zhang Muhao and his men surround Lin Ran, Yi Shu was furious. Zhang Muhao looked back and narrowed his eyes. Yi Shu, when I was chasing Lin Ran before, you were making trouble. If it weren't for you, I would have chased Lin Ran long ago. As the first level physique so great. If you don't come, it's fine. If you dare to come, I'll make you look good. After saying that, he waved his hand. Brother Chang, beat him up for me. Afterwards, I'll give you the motorcycle you like. Hee, the legendary first level physique, I also want to see, what's so great about it. One of the people stepped out. This person is about 1.8 meters tall, with a square face and very burly. He looked at Yi Shu, stretched his neck, and said. Yi Shu looked at this person and said, Huang Chang. Huang Chang, also a student of the 9th War God University who has reached the first level physique, is very strong. As a physical fitness student, it is said that he has reached a punching force of 1,200 kilograms. Among the students, there are few opponents. Unless he has awakened his profession, it is difficult for anyone to beat him. This time, the reason why Zhang Muhao dared to trouble Lin Ran was because he found this person. With the same first-level physique, this person is much stronger than Lin Ran. This is also the reason why Lin Ran did not rush to take action. Are you going to stand up for this scum? Yi Shu looked at Huang Chang and said lightly. Hee. Huang Chang hid his fists and said with a smile, people die for money and birds die for food. I understand this truth, don't you, the academic bully, understand? Then there is no room for negotiation. Yi Shu clenched his fists. Talk. Huang Chang waved his hand. Get away, I won't care. Hee. Yi Shu smiled. Behind Yi Shu, Chen Fei knew that Yi Shu was about to take action. He whispered, Brother Shu, be careful, this guy is very strong, I heard that he is likely to break through to 1,300 pounds of punching power. Don't worry, Yi Shu waved his hand. He was not afraid at all after drinking the strengthening potion. Yi Shu stepped forward. Hey, Huang Chang also sneered and rushed over directly. Get out of my way. Looking at Huang Chang rushing over, Yi Shu shouted loudly, and kicked him hard with a heavy kick like lightning. Swish. Huang Chang raised his hand and wanted to block Yi Shu's kick with his right arm. Bang! Yi Shu's heavy kick immediately widened Huang Chang's eyes, and he flew backwards 4 or 5 meters in the air and then fell to the ground. He kicked Huang Chang away. I've heard that Yi Shu is a level 1 physique, but he kicked Huang Chang, who is also a level 1 physique, away. Isn't this kid too evil? The others were shocked when they saw this scene. This is Huang Chang, a special physical student, who was kicked away by Yi Shu. How could they know that after Yi Shu drank the superpower enhancement potion, his physical fitness increased by nearly 3 times? In the past, maybe he and Huang Chang were evenly matched. But now, it's a one-sided crushing. Yi Shu. Zhang Muhao stared, watching Yi Shu kick Huang Chang away, and shouted, "You are looking for death. You dare to touch Lin Ran, you are looking for death." Yi Shu shouted with fierce eyes. In the distance, Lin Ran, who was watching this scene, smiled slightly and pursed her lips. Although she was also surprised by Yi Shu's strength, she was so happy in her heart. On the other side, Huang Chang got up, spit out a mouthful of saliva, exerted his strength suddenly, rushed towards Yi Shu, and raised his hand to hit. Yi Shu's eyes turned cold. Yi Shu easily dodged Huang Chang's fierce palm by turning sideways, and raised his hand to punch Huang Chang in the stomach. Bang! The force of this punch was so great that it even blasted out bursts of sonic booms. In this punch, Yi Shu almost used 50% of his strength. Bang! Huang Chang's face was distorted, his eyes bulged, and he felt like he was hit by a truck. He opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of blood. Bang bang bang! Huang Chang took several steps back and squatted down holding his stomach, his body bent like a shrimp. Now Yi Shu's strength, speed, and reaction ability are several times that of before. Huang Chang is not his opponent at all. Ding! System task released. Defeat Huang Chang. Task reward. Get a chance to smash a golden egg. At this moment, a voice came from Yi Shu's mind. The system actually released a task at this time. Yi Shu was stunned. Defeat Huang Chang. Then, the corners of his mouth rose. This was not difficult at all. It might be a bit troublesome for him to defeat Huang Chang before. But now, he has drunk the superpower enhancement potion and his ability has improved by more than a little bit. It's not easy to defeat Huang Chang. Huang Chang struggled to stand up and looked at Yi Shu with a ferocious expression. There are so many people watching. As a physical fitness special student, how can he make a fool of himself in a hand-to-hand fight? As for physical fitness, Huang Chang is actually very confident. It's not like he hasn't seen Yi Shu before. They used to fight in the martial arts hall. Yi Shu is even slightly inferior to him. Now, he was knocked down by a punch. No matter what, Huang Chang was very unconvinced. I just don't believe it. Huang Chiang endured the severe pain. He stood up suddenly, rushed towards Yi Shu again, and punched him again. Bang! His fierce punch was steadily caught by Yi Shu, and then Yi Shu smiled coldly, exerted force suddenly, and squeezed hard. Ah! After being squeezed by Yi Shu, he felt that his fist was like being clamped by a vice, and he screamed in pain, and even his face was distorted. Do you accept it? Yi Shu pinched his fist with one hand and looked at him. Your mother is submissive. Huang Chang was furious. He endured the severe pain and clenched his other hand into a fist, smashing it towards Yi Shu's forehead. Yi Shu raised his hand and easily knocked Huang Chang's fist away. Then, Yi Shu grabbed Huang Chang's fist, pulled it hard, raised his leg and kicked him in the abdomen. Taking advantage of the moment when he bent over, he punched him backhand and knocked him to the ground. Then, Yi Shu violently pressed him to the ground and sat on him. Then, he raised his fist as big as a casserole. Bang! Focus on his face, punched him on the left, submit or not. Bang! Punched him on the right, submit or not. I'm not confused. Huang Chang's words were a little slurred, but he did not give in and wanted to turn over. But, Yi Shu was so powerful now that he couldn't break free at all. Yi Shu won't tolerate him. You don't accept it, right? Bang! One punch. Huang Chang opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with a tooth. Do you accept it? Yi Shu looked at him. Bang! Do you accept it? At this moment, Huang Chang's face had swollen like a pig's head, his eyes rolled back, and his body began to twitch. This scene scared the group of lackeys brought by Zhang Muhao so much that they retreated again and again, their faces pale. Isn't Yi Shu too cruel? Level 1 physiques had almost no power to fight back in front of him. They asked themselves, if they went up, they would be killed. Even Zhang Muhao himself was so scared that his face turned pale and his legs trembled. If he was beaten like this, he would have been beaten to death long ago. You don't accept it, right? Yi Shu was furious and ignored Zhang Muhao and his group. He got up from Huang Chang, looked around, and untied his belt directly. What are you going to do? At this moment, Huang Chang seemed to be afraid. He pulled his pants tightly and said, "No, this is not allowed. I tell you, don't mess around in broad daylight." Yi Shu glanced at him and said, "You think too much." After that, he raised his belt. Pa! He hit Huang Chang hard with a belt. Ah! Yi Shu, you're... Huang Chang rolled over in pain. Really? Yi Shu smiled coldly. Today, I want to see whether you are tough or my belt is tough. Yi Shu raised his hand and pretended to hit again. I surrender, I surrender. Huang Chang raised his hand to stop Yi Shu. Don't hit me, I surrender to you, Yi Shu, isn't it okay? It's not that he is not strong, it's just that Yi Shu's belt is too strong, he can't bear this belt fried meat. Ding! Congratulations to the host, complete the task, defeat Huang Chang, and get the reward, one chance to smash the golden egg. At this moment, a voice came from Yi Shu's mind. If Huang Chang knew this, he would definitely curse. It would be better if you did this earlier. Yi Shu smiled and tied the belt again. Then, Yi Shu looked at Zhang Muhao and his group. Well, I don't know him. Someone immediately moved away from Zhang Muhao. Ah, yes, my mom called me home for dinner, bye. Well, my cousin is in confinement today, I'm leaving first. Ah, I forgot to collect the quilt. A group of people found excuses to run away. Even Huang Chang was beaten so badly, and it was obvious that Yi Shu hadn't used his full strength, so they wouldn't go up to get beaten. You guys. Zhang Muhao looked at these guys and gritted his teeth. This bunch of friends who only care about food and drink are really unreliable. Yi Shu looked at Zhang Muhao coldly and said, I heard that you wanted to force Lin Ran. Misunderstanding. Zhang Muhao changed his face. A good man doesn't suffer a loss in front of him, and he doesn't want to be beaten either. He looked at Yi Shu and smiled apologetically, I'm just a little impatient. Yi Shu looked at him and said, I won't waste my words with you. Just slap yourself 10 times and get out of here. Zhang Muhao, who looked like a pig, looked at Yi Shu and his face changed. He was asking him to slap himself in public. What a joke. Is he shameless? You don't want to. Yi Shu stepped forward, grabbed his collar, and lifted him up. Pa, he slapped him. Since you don't want to, I'll help you. You dare to hit me. Pa, I will definitely let you. Pa, stop it. After only 3 slaps, Zhang Muhao's face swelled up, and he was finally scared. What are you doing? At this moment, an angry shout came from a distance, and a middle-aged man with a dozen armed security guards rushed over with batons. This is the school's armed security guards, who specialize in dealing with disputes between students. Yi Shu knew that he couldn't continue to fight, so he threw Zhang Muhao out. Yi Shu, it's you again. A bald middle-aged man came over and took a look at Zhang Muhao, whose face was swollen like a pig's head. Then, he looked at Yi Shu, sternly said, you feel itchy if you don't fight for a day, right? Even if you study well, I can't let you go this time. Come on, follow me to the Academic Affairs office. Director Wang, don't blame me this time. They bullied Lin Ran. I just stood up for justice. Yi Shu spread his hands and said, Lin Ran. Director Wang was stunned and looked at the beautiful girl not far away. Lin Ran looked at him, showing a meaningful smile, then walked over and said, That's right, Director Wang, you can't wrongly accuse people. It was Zhang Muhao and others who bullied me. Yi Shu just helped me. You can't wrongly accuse people. Uncle Wang, no, it's not like that. Zhang Muhao quickly got up and walked to the bald man and said. The bald man's face changed and shouted, Shut up, how many times have I said that in school, call me director? Zhang Muhao shrank his neck and said, Yes, Director Wang. Director Wang looked at everyone and waved his hand for the last time, follow me to the Academic Affairs office. After Director Wang brought Yi Shu and the others to the Academic Affairs office. Surprisingly, he didn't punish them too harshly. Director Wang just gave Yi Shu a verbal warning and let them go. When Yi Shu and the others left, In the entire academic affairs office, only Director Wang and Zhang Muhao were left. Zhang Muhao looked at Director Wang sitting behind his desk, and found a chair to sit down. Uncle, Zhang Muhao said to Director Wang with some dissatisfaction, that Yi Shu hit me, look at my face, what did he do to it? As he said that, he stood up, put his face close to him, and said, why don't you take this opportunity to teach that Yi Shu a lesson? Shu. Even, fire him. Director Wang glanced at Zhang Muhao, did not answer his question, but shook his head and said, Muhao, how much do you know about Lin Ran? Lin Ran. Zhang Muhao rubbed his face, sat back and said, isn't it just a pretty girl? Muhao. Director Wang looked at Zhang Muhao and said seriously, you used to play a little bit, so forget it. But this time, you really messed up. What's wrong? Zhang Muhao looked indifferent. He had played with so many pretty girls since he was a child, and he didn't think there was anything wrong. That little girl named Lin Ran, I met at a banquet half a year ago. Director Wang said in a deep voice. Uncle, stop beating around the bush, just say it straight. Zhang Muhao touched his face, a little impatient. If you're fine, I'm leaving. Humph. Director Wang snorted coldly and said, since your father and I are old acquaintances, I tell you that this girl named Lin Ran attended the banquet with Lin Haofang, and I've observed that their behavior is somewhat intimate. Lin Haofang. Zhang Muhao hesitated for a moment, then suddenly opened his eyes wide and said, Uncle, are you talking about Lin Haofang, the Major General of our Yanjing City's defense force? Do you think I'm talking about another Lin Haofang? Director Wang glanced at Zhang Muhao. Lin Haofang is easy to deal with, but the people behind Lin Haofang are nothing but a word from others, even if our two families are combined. Director Wang looked at him. You used to do minor things, but this time, you went too far. Even if Lin Ran and Lin Haofang are only distant relatives, if the Lin family investigates, even your father can't protect you. You might be exiled to the wilderness. Exiled to the wilderness. At this moment, Zhang Muhao was scared, and he sat there trembling and said, how could it be? I investigated Lin Ran before, she is just the daughter of a small company owner. Director Wang looked at him and said, you should be quiet for a few days, go back, head, I'll go check and see if I can mediate. Looking at Zhang Muhao who was stunned, Director Wang said in a deep voice, do you know? I know. Zhang Muhao nodded quickly. Go back. Director Wang waved his hand. Then, Zhang Muhao left the academic affairs office in a daze. He was afraid. If Lin Ran was from a Lin family, he might get into big trouble this time. Not only him, but also his family might be implicated. If Lin Ran really had a relationship with Lin Haofang, what he said to Lin Ran today, what he did. With the ability of the Lin family, he would die without knowing how he died. On the other side, Yi Shu, Lin Ran, and Chen Fei were strolling on the playground. Brother Shu, you are so domineering. That Huang Chang was beaten by you without any ability to fight back. That Zhang Muhao was lifted up by you. I wish I were as strong as you. As he said, Chen Fei twisted his fat body and gestured there. Yi Shu smiled and said, who told you not to exercise well? Why don't you practice with me in the future? As long as you practice more, you can do it. Chen Fei was stunned for a moment, remembering that Yi Shu got up at 6 o'clock every morning and started to exercise. After school, he went to the martial arts hall to practice boxing. He was tired like a dog all day. He shook his head repeatedly and said, hey, I'd better forget it. I'm not that kind of material. You make me get up early and stay up late every day, but you still kill me with a knife. You guy. Yi Shu was a little helpless and said, you kid, if you continue like this, even if you awaken, it will be difficult to achieve anything in the future. Hee hee. Chen Fei laughed and said, I didn't plan to awaken any good profession. It would be best if I could awaken a life-related profession. I just want to stay in the base and live a stable life. I don't want to go out of the base to fight and kill. Yi Shu was speechless, but he didn't say anything. Some people yearn for the outside world, want to fight happily, resist the invasion of ferocious beasts, become a generation of strong men, and defend their country. Some people just want to live a stable life. It can only be said that everyone has their own aspirations. Brother Shu, I have to go back to the store to help this afternoon, so I won't have dinner with you. Chen Fei said. Chen Fei's father opened a small restaurant not far from the school. When the restaurant was busy, he would go back to help. Go ahead. Yi Shu waved his hand. Sister Ran, I'll go first. Chen Fei called out to Lin Ran, who was walking beside Yi Shu. Lin Ran nodded and said with a smile, go ahead, go ahead. Wait a minute, we'll go over and help when we have time. Hee, I won't bother you. Chen Fei winked at Yi Shu and said, Brother Shu, take advantage of it. Get out of here. Yi Shu smiled and kicked. Chen Fei twisted his body, dodged the kick, and ran away with a smile. This brat, Yi Shu cursed with a smile. Yi Shu and Lin Ran walked side by side on the playground. Tall and beautiful Lin Ran frequently attracted the attention of boys. For Yi Shu beside Lin Ran, they were so envious and jealous. Lin Ran, as the school belle of the 9th God of War High School, has fair skin, beautiful face and long legs. She is definitely a goddess. Although there are many people chasing her, including some sons of wealthy families and second-generation chaebol. But, in the 3 years of high school, I haven't heard that she has a boyfriend. On weekdays, only Yi Shu is close to her. But they are not in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Even so, Yi Shu has been killed by countless boys' eyes again and again, who told him to be with their goddess all day. At this time, Yi Shu and Lin Ran were both silent. Finally, it was Lin Ran who spoke up and said, which university do you plan to apply for in the future? Yi Shu put his hands behind his head and heard Lin Ran's words, and said, I don't know, let's see what profession I can awaken tomorrow. If it's an ordinary profession, I might have to go back to inherit my grandfather's clinic. Speaking of this, Yi Shu smiled, with a nonchalant look on his face. What about you? Yi Shu turned his head and looked at Lin Ran. Lin Ran was silent for a short while, and finally sighed softly, saying, I, if nothing unexpected happens, should go to Shenlong College. Shenlong College. Yi Shu smacked his lips, that is the best college in Longguo. The dream of every Dragon Country student is to enter the Dragon Academy for further study. After all, Hong Tian, the strongest man in Dragon Country, is the dean of the Dragon Academy. Hong Tian is the only 100-level martial emperor in Dragon Country. It is because of him that Dragon Country is in awe of those super-powerful beasts that dare not invade Dragon Country's territory. After talking with Lin Ran for a while, they parted ways. After eating something in the cafeteria, Yi Shu returned to the dormitory. In the empty dormitory, Yi Shu was the only one. Originally, there were 4 people in their dormitory, but Yi Shu's other roommates lived very close to home, and basically went home after school, and rarely stayed in the dormitory. At this time, Yi Shu was lying on the bed, thinking of Lin Ran. He couldn't help but feel dazed. Finally, Yi Shu shook his head helplessly. After all, they were people from 2 different worlds. Yi Shu, knowing that Lin Ran's identity was not ordinary, he never had any improper thoughts about Lin Ran. Although they were close all along, they were just ordinary friends. Speaking of his acquaintance with Lin Ran, that was 3 years ago. That day was the evening when Yi Shu had just graduated from junior high school. When he was exercising in the suburbs, he accidentally found Lin Ran hiding in a trash can. At that time, Lin Ran was covered in injuries. In addition, Yi Shu found that there were many people searching around. At that time, it was Yi Shu who led the group of people away. Then he pulled Lin Ran out of the trash can and hid her in his secret base, which saved Lin Ran from the disaster. Otherwise, Lin Ran would not be able to escape the search of the group of people no matter which trash can she hid in. Afterwards, Yi Shu took the seriously injured Lin Ran home and asked his grandfather to give her a simple treatment. That day, Lin Ran didn't say a word from beginning to end. Until that night, a group of soldiers driving a military vehicle came and took Lin Ran away. Although the officer wanted to give Yi Shu offered a generous reward, but Yi Shu didn't know what he was thinking and didn't take it. At that time, Yi Shu knew that Lin Ran's identity was definitely not simple. After that, he met Lin Ran again at the freshman meeting of the 9th War God High School, where Lin Ran spoke as a freshman representative. After that, Lin Ran also discovered Yi Shu. She often came to find Yi Shu, and sometimes, she would be with Yi Shu for a whole day. After a while, they became friends, but just friends. The 2 of them never crossed the line. This time, she will go to Shenlong College, and I basically have no chance to go there. Unless I can awaken a hidden profession. Yi Shu's heart moved. Thinking of this, Yi Shu sighed helplessly. He felt that it was impossible. Hidden professions were not something that could be created just by thinking about them. In the past, there might not be a hidden profession in a graduation season. The last time a hidden profession appeared in Yanjing was 2 years ago, when Chen Hai from the First God of War High School awakened the hidden profession Angry Dragon Warrior. With this profession, he entered the Dragon Academy for further studies. And last year, there was not a single hidden profession in the entire Yanjing city. The difficulty of awakening a hidden profession can be imagined. However, there are quite a few rare professions every year, but hidden professions can only be said to be something that can only be encountered by chance. Forget it, don't think too much, she and I are not from the same world after all. After graduation, let's get together, and then go our separate ways. I have the system, so I'm not afraid of not being able to rise. Yi Shu said to himself from the left. System, by the way, speaking of the system. I just got another chance to smash eggs. Let me see what good stuff I can get this time. Thinking of this, Yi Shu immediately opened the system panel. Sure enough, there was another opportunity to smash an egg on the system panel. Today, he smashed 1 egg, and there are still 4. Yi Shu took a look at the 4 eggs, then chose the one on the far right, used this opportunity, and smashed it. Crack! As the hammer fell, the egg shattered. After the golden egg cracked, a blue book appeared inside. Book. Is it a skill book? Yi Shu sat up from the bed all of a sudden. In this world, the preciousness of skill books is unique. Skill book. It is the only way to obtain skills other than job transfer. The explosion rate of skill books is extremely low, with only less than 1 in 100,000 chances of exploding a skill book on a monster. Some people have fought monsters for more than 10 years without exploding a skill book. Every skill book, once it appears in the market, is sky high. Congratulations to the host, you have smashed a 1-star golden egg and won a reward, Explosive Fireball, skill book. At this time, the system prompt sounded. Sure enough. Yi Shu's heart was pounding. Skill books are priceless treasures. Each skill book can allow people to learn a skill. The power of ordinary fireball is not great, but it is very practical, and the cooling time is relatively short. More importantly, this skill is a universal skill that can be learned by all professions. Although it is a universal profession, this skill itself is only available when the mage profession is awakened, which means it is a skill exclusive to mages. Other professions can only learn it through skill books. Although the skill fireball is not strong, the evaluation is only F, which is the lowest level skill. But no one will dislike having too many skills. In the wild, the more skills you have, the more you can take the lead. Whether it is any skill of attack or defense, it is very rare, especially for those general professions. Fireball. Yi Shu remembered that half a year ago, there was an auction on TV. At that time, he also watched that auction, and there was an auction for the skill book of Fireball. Yi Shu remembered that at that time, the Fireball book was finally sold for 3 million dragon coins. You know, Fireball is actually the lowest level skill, but even so, it is worth 3 million. Explosive Fireball. Yi Shu looked at this skill book and whispered, is it different from other fireballs? Thinking of this, Yi Shu immediately opened the description of this explosive fireball. He must figure this out. Explosive Fireball. Condense a fireball and attack your target. After the fireball lands, it will explode and cause an explosion damage. The explosion damage is related to the skill level. Learning requirements. All professions can learn. After reading the instructions, Yi Shu couldn't help but swear, saying, it's really different from ordinary fireball, it can actually explode, isn't this equivalent to dropping a bomb? Tisk tisk. This is simply 10 blocks away from ordinary fireball. Yi Shu was so happy in his heart, if he hadn't awakened a profession now, he would have been unable to resist learning it immediately. This skill is quite powerful. At this moment, Yi Shu is even more looking forward to tomorrow's awakening. Now he is full of confidence, even if he awakens a rubbish profession. As long as there is this system, Yi Shu believes that he will always rise. On this day, the 9th God of War High School was particularly lively. Because, today is the annual Awakening Day. The Awakening Room that has been sealed for a year is open again. Today, the sun is shining brightly and the weather is very good. This group of students came to the playground early to line up, waiting to enter the Awakening Room. Whether it is soaring into the sky or falling into the mortal world, it is today. Hey, I finally waited for this day, I must awaken a good profession. That's right, this time, we can't lose face. That's right, last year, no hidden profession appeared in our Yanjing city. This year, we must fight for it. That's right, in the 5 major urban areas of Jiangnan province, last year there was Yanchuan in Suzhou and Hangzhou city, Wang Haoran in Dongli city, Chen Kaier in Wujiang city, Gao Chengli in Lanling city, but in our Yanjing city, there was none. Yes. It is said that our mayor was too embarrassed to go to the martial arts conference held in Jiangnan last year. It's because the seniors in the previous session were too useless. You dare to say that? This time, I have to fight for my dignity no matter what. The playground is full of people now. There are 5,000 or 6,000 people queuing here, waiting to awaken. They are bored now and everyone is talking. Everyone, be quiet. Just as everyone was talking, a middle-aged man came out from the podium and spoke. He didn't use any amplification equipment, but his voice spread throughout the playground. Hearing this person speak, everyone quieted down and looked towards the podium. Principal. Everyone was shocked. Hu Weidi, the principal of the 9th God of War College. He is also a 52nd level martial king. All professions have a unified level division, and as the level increases, there will be different titles. Within level 10, it is called a martial arts apprentice. Above level 10, it is called a martial arts master. Level 20 and above is called Wu Kuang, and so on. Level 30 Wu Ling, level 40 Wu Zong, level 50 Wu Wang. Level 60 Wu Huang, level 70 Wu Zun, level 80 Wu Sheng, level 90 Wu Shen, level 100 Wu Di. As a level 52 Wu Wang, Hu Weidi is already very strong. There are few stronger than him in the whole Yanjing city. In the past 100 years, Hu Weidi has taken action several times to repel monsters that invaded Yanjing city. In the hearts of Yanjing citizens, Hu Weidi is the patron saint of Yanjing city. He has a high status in the hearts of the people and is very respected. When he speaks, no one will offend. Everyone looked up and looked at Hu Weidi on the high platform, each with a serious face and full of respect. Dear students, you are the hope of the country and even the future of mankind. Nowadays, monsters are rampant, murderers are rampant, and monsters in the wilderness area are getting stronger and stronger. If we want to survive better, we need to keep getting stronger. After a long speech, Hu Weidi waved his hand. Now, the awakening officially begins. Then, a staff member stood up, opened the door of the awakening room, and said through the radio, "Everyone come one by one, hear your name, and then enter the awakening room." The awakening officially began, and everyone lined up according to the class. Yi Shu was also queuing up. He was a student in class 17, and it would take a long time for them to get to there. The head teacher maintained order on the side. Yi Shu was not in a hurry, and he and Chen Fei were chatting and laughing while standing in line. Chen Ziqi. As the loudspeaker called her name, a girl excitedly walked out of the line and went directly into the awakening room. As the high-tech equipment in the awakening room started to operate. In less than a minute, the awakening was completed, and the result was displayed on the big screen outside the awakening room. Chen Ziqi, awakening profession, musketeer. As the announcement on the big screen. Everyone immediately started to talk. Musketeer, a combat profession. Yes, this profession is actually a good one among combat professions, with powerful long-range output. Indeed, this profession usually goes to military academy for further study. Tisk tisk, this Chen Ziqi is also successful. Soon, Chen Ziqi walked out of the awakening room, looking energetic. It seems that she is also very satisfied with her profession. Next, Wang Dao. After hearing the nomination on the loudspeaker, a tall and thin boy walked out of the team and entered the awakening room with an excited look. Wang Dao, awaken the profession, chef. Soon, Wang Dao walked out of the awakening room with a bitter face. As a chef, he can only work in the kitchen in his life. A chef basically has no combat ability, and all his skills are for cooking. Chef, Wang Dao is finished now. Hee hee, wasn't that guy very arrogant before? He looked down on everyone because of his family background. Now, let's see how arrogant he is. Let's be a chef. Don't rush to laugh at others. The awakening rate of ordinary professions accounts for more than 80%. We may be similar to him. At this moment, someone finally began to feel heavy-hearted. Now is not the time to laugh at others. Next, Li Yi. Li Yi, awaken the profession, repairman. Next, Li Guohao. Li Guohao, awaken the profession, miner. Next, more than a dozen people awakened to professions that were either ordinary professions or auxiliary professions. Except for Chen Ziqi, the first one to awaken, who was a combat profession, there were no combat professions in the next dozens of people. At this moment, everyone was not happy. The probability of awakening a combat profession was too low. Next, Lin Ran. When reading this name, Yi Shu, who was whispering something to Chen Fei, was stunned, and then couldn't help looking towards the awakening room. Brother Shu, it's Sister Ran. Chen Fei said excitedly. Yi Shu nodded and said speechlessly, I'm not deaf. Brother Shu, what profession do you think Sister Ran can awaken? Yi Shu stared at the awakening room and said, how do I know? Lin Ran walked out. Everyone looked sideways. Lin Ran, even if she was wearing a simple school uniform, it was difficult to hide her proud figure. The tall figure and the slender legs under the short skirt made people linger. A beautiful and stunning face was so eye-catching in the crowd, and soon became the focus of everyone's attention. No matter where she is always so eye-catching. Lin Ran walked out of the queue, without much hesitation, and went straight into the awakening room. At this moment, even Yi Shu was nervous. He looked straight at the awakening room. After a while, Lin Ran, awakening profession, Lu Feng swordsman, rare profession. This is displayed on the big screen. Ah, my goddess, she really didn't let me down. Oh my god, the goddess has awakened a rare profession. Oh my god, the goddess has awakened a rare profession. This time, I have no chance at all. You never had a chance. Tisk tisk, the goddess is the goddess. She actually awakened a rare profession. Swordsman, this profession is rare in itself and has super strong attacks. The number of swordsman professions awakened every year is the least among all combat professions. I didn't expect that the goddess not only awakened the swordsman profession, but also a rare profession. That's right, last year, our 9th War God High School only awakened 3 rare professions. Today, the goddess awakened a rare profession. This year, our goddess has earned a breath for our Yanjing city. Everyone was talking about it, and even the principal who waited on the podium couldn't help but nodded, and his serious expression also showed a smile. Brother Shu, did you hear that? Sister Ran has awakened a rare profession. Chen Fei shouted excitedly, as if he had awakened a rare profession himself. Yi Shu also smiled and said, rare professions are really good. Lin Ran had just walked out of the awakening room and looked at Yi Shu, and someone came to take her away. Come to think of it, rare professions are combat members that the country has vigorously cultivated. Not to mention that Lin Ran's identity is not ordinary. Even if Lin Ran is just an ordinary person, awakening a rare profession will be valued by the country. Next, Zhang Fangfang. The awakening did not stop because Lin Ran awakened a rare profession, and the awakening continued. Just like that, more than 2 hours passed before it was Yi Shu's class turn. Led by the head teacher, they followed the passage and entered the waiting area. Don't make noise, wait quietly for the nomination, and those whose names are called will go directly to the awakening room. I have said it many times, don't be nervous, calm down, and let it go. Quote. At this time, the head teacher cheered them up again. Next, Chen. Finally, it was officially Yi Shu's class's turn. Chen is a boy who is not tall, very sunny, and very lively on weekdays. I'm going, brothers, wish me good luck. Chen stood up, shouted, and then strode into the awakening room. Everyone looked at the awakening room nervously. After a while, Chen, awakening profession, archer. Wow, our class has a combat profession again. Chen is really awesome. He got off to a good start right at the beginning, archer, but very sharp. Haha, this time, our class has a bottom line. Even Yi, the head teacher of Shu's class, also smiled slightly and breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, one of his class awakened, and it was a combat profession. Click. The door of the awakening room opened, and Chen walked out. Haha, brothers, I successfully awakened the combat profession. I will be an archer in the future. Next, it's up to you. Chen was very happy and hugged people everywhere excitedly. No wonder he was so excited. Awakening the combat profession means that he can freely choose a first-class university in the future, and the future is promising. Next, Zhang Feng. A tall man walked out of the class, took a deep breath, said nothing, and walked directly into the awakening room. Zhang Feng, awakening profession, alchemist. Click. The door of the awakening room opened, and Zhang Feng walked out. His face was not very good. Alchemist is just an auxiliary profession. Although it will also be cultivated by the country, its status is much lower than that of the combat profession. In the future, it can only be dependent on the combat profession. Next, Chen Fei. Yi Shu patted Chen Fei. Fatty, it's your turn, go ahead. Chen Fei swallowed his saliva, looked at Yi Shu, and said, Brother Shu, I'll go then. Go ahead, come on. Chen Fei took a deep breath, mustered up his courage, and entered the awakening room. Chen Fei, awaken the profession, heavy shield warrior, rare profession. What, that fat guy actually awakened a rare profession? No way, Fatty Chen is not active in training every day, and his physical fitness is also poor. How can he awaken a rare profession? This is also possible. What kind of shit luck is this? Chen Fei. At this time, the most excited person is their class teacher, Mr. Zhang. Mr. Zhang is a middle-aged man, a level 15 herbalist. He didn't expect that there would be a rare profession in his class. This shows that he teaches well. Now that Chen Fei has awakened a rare profession, he feels very proud. This is the first time he has taught a student with a rare profession in all his years as a teacher. Click. The door of the awakening room opened, and Chen Fei ran out of the awakening room with an excited face. He first ran to the head teacher, bowed and said, Teacher Zhang. Good boy. Teacher Zhang smiled with satisfaction and looked at Chen Fei. You didn't disappoint the teacher. Study hard, serve the country in the future, don't let down such a good career. Chen Fei smiled foolishly, then nodded to the head teacher. I know, Teacher Zhang. Yeah, Teacher Zhang smiled and nodded. Brother Shu, did you see it? Then, he turned around and ran directly to Yi Shu, shaking with excitement. Yi Shu smiled and patted his shoulder, saying, Good boy, you can do it, you planted willows by accident and they grew into a forest. Hee. Fei Chen smiled foolishly. Although he didn't have much ambition, he would be satisfied even if he awakened an ordinary profession. But since he awakened such a good profession, he was naturally happy. Who would want to be a strong man and struggle at the bottom all his life? In fact, before, he just didn't have confidence in himself. Fei Chen, you can do it. Yes, I saw that you are not ordinary. That's right. Don't forget us old classmates when you become rich in the future. Yes, a rare profession, please take me with you. A group of people immediately surrounded him and squeezed Yi Shu out. Even some female classmates acted like a spoiled child to him. These people were too realistic. I had never seen them so enthusiastic about the fat man before. Not to mention the girls acting like a spoiled child to him. In all these years of high school life, some girls couldn't even call out Fei Chen's full name. Now they are all very enthusiastic. Now that Fatty has awakened such a good profession, these people immediately came to curry favor with him, hoping that Chen Fei would remember these old classmates. However, before they could say a few words of flattery, the school's senior management came to take Chen Fei away. Rare professions are generally the key training targets of the country. Brother Shu, I'll wait for you. I can do it, and you can do it. Chen Fei was taken away, but he still turned back and shouted to Yi Shu. Don't worry, Yi Shu waved to him. Next, Zhao Anan, awakening profession, winemaker. Next, Wu Shun, awakening profession, barber. Awakening still continued in an orderly manner. But since Chen Fei, their class's luck seemed to have run out. More than a dozen people in a row were all ordinary professions, and even auxiliary professions were rare. Next, Yi Shu, who was leaning on the railing, was shocked. Finally, it was his turn. Yi Shu took a deep breath. Although he was a little nervous, he still strode into the awakening room. If he stuck his head out, he would be cut off. If he shrunk his head, he would be cut off. No matter what, awakening was imperative. Yi Shu walked into the awakening room and found that this so-called awakening room was not complicated. It was just a small room with only one instrument. Follow the instructions. Yi Shu walked directly under the instrument and sat on the chair. Swish. As the staff pulled the switch, the round instrument fell and wrapped Yi Shu up. Then, a burst of red light came out from the instrument, and the red light began to scan Yi Shu repeatedly. Ding ding ding. As the red light scanned, suddenly, a red alarm sounded above the instrument. This is. The staff in charge of awakening was startled. As an awakening staff member, he knew very well what the red alarm meant. This is an alarm that only occurs when a hidden profession appears. Boom. At this moment, a black mist emanated from Yi Shu's body, and the black mist continued to spread. The black mist wrapped Yi Shu for a long time. Boom. At this moment, the sky, which was clear just now, suddenly became dark and thunderous. Whoosh whoosh. A strong wind followed. What is that? Someone exclaimed, pointing to the sky above the awakening room. At this moment, above the awakening room, countless black mists condensed into a huge and terrifying skull, which enveloped the entire building where the awakening room was located. The entire skull was billowing with black smoke, exuding a terrifying power, looking down at everyone on the playground. This scene made countless students on the playground change their faces. Even the principal Huwaidi on the high platform had a serious face and whispered, "Vision, vision from the sky, is it going to be a hidden profession?" "It won't be a hidden profession," someone among the students shouted. "I've heard of the strange phenomenon falling from the sky. This is unique to the awakening of hidden professions. Our school really has a hidden profession. At the beginning, I also hoped that our school would have a hidden profession, but now it really appears. Why do I feel a little unhappy? Because it's not us who awaken the hidden profession. Awakening a hidden profession, this guy has a bright future in the future." At this moment, whether it is students or teachers, they all showed shocked expressions. Hidden professions, no one is not envious. Boom. The phenomenon lasted for a full 3 minutes. With the explosion of thunder, the huge black fog skull dissipated instantly, and then all condensed, and finally fell into the awakening room. Yi Shu, awakening profession, death chanter, hidden profession. Note, the first appearance of a hidden profession. Then, a line of words appeared on the big screen. It's a hidden profession. This time, our Yanjing city can stand up. Finally a hidden profession has appeared. Death chanter, this profession appears for the first time. It should be very sharp, right? Such a domineering profession name, how can it not be powerful? Click. Not long after, the door of the awakening room opened. Yi Shu stepped out. Boom. Huwaidi jumped down from the high platform and landed steadily in front of Yi Shu. "Boy, this is the first time you awaken a hidden profession, and it is also the first time a profession appears. How many skills does this profession have?" Huwaidi asked quickly. The strength of hidden professions, in fact, fundamentally speaking, still depends on skills. Hidden professions are strong in skills. Generally, when a hidden profession is just awakened, it will have 4 or 5 skills, and they are all super strong skills, the kind that crush ordinary professions. Ah, Yi Shu scratched his head and stretched out a finger. 10. Huwaidi was shocked. No way, just awakened, there are 10 skills. In the past thousands of years, how many professions have 10 skills just awakened? Not to mention the distant past, in the last 100 years, it seems that 10 years ago, when Leng Yumo in Kyoto awakened the hidden profession Dragon Law Mage, there were 11 skills, and there are no other skills. In the last 100 years, except for Leng Yumo, there is indeed no such powerful hidden profession. Tisk tisk, Leng Yumo, Dragon Law Mage, but it ranks among the top 3 among all hidden professions. Could it be that this death chanter can be compared with Dragon Law Mage? Countless people heard the news and began to talk about it. Under the expectant eyes of everyone, Yi Shu said embarrassedly, "1. Huwaidi frowned, then looked at Yi Shu with hope. Is it a very strong skill?" Speaking of this, Yi Shu was even more embarrassed, and said, "My skill is called Death Ingestion. The ability is to search through the corpses and find usable items." That's it. Huwaidi's eyes widened. Just now, such a big battle, and I got such a skill. That's it. Yi Shu nodded. Can you let me see your attribute panel? Hu Weidi still didn't give up. Yi Shu thought about it and said, okay. He knew that if he didn't let him see his attributes, he would not give up. As he spoke, Yi Shu generously shared his attribute panel with Hu Weidi. Name: Yi Shu. Occupation: Death Chanter. Title: Warrior Apprentice. Level: 0. Strength: 22. Agility: 15. Spirit: 50. Skill: Death Ingestion LV1. Search for corpses and find useful items. Closing square bracket. Yi Shu was not lying, he really only had one skill. Although Yi Shu's basic attributes were great, especially Spirit, which was as high as 50 points at level 0. If he was a mage, he would be very strong. However, he only had one skill. If he wanted to get more skills, he had to turn it up at level 10. However, the initial skill, one turn, was not much better. After reading Yi Shu's attributes, Hu Weidi's face was a little disappointed. He thought he had picked up a treasure, but he didn't expect it to be a rotten treasure. One skill, and a useless skill, even if the basic attributes are good, it is not very useful. The strength of a profession actually depends on the skill. Without powerful skills, no matter how good the attributes are, it's useless, just like you have a good gun, but no bullets. Unless you invest a lot of skill books. But who is willing to spend that much money? With that much money, it's better to cultivate a career with better growth potential. A hidden career that awakens a skill at the primary level. A student said. Searching for corpses. What's the point? Can't we tell at a glance whether a monster corpse is useful or not? Why do we need to search? So, this skill is debatable. Isn't this just a useless skill? It's just a useless job. There's only one useless skill after the initial awakening. It's worse than an ordinary combat job. An ordinary combat job, at least has 3 skills after the initial awakening. Then isn't this Death Chanter a useless job? Of course not, not every hidden job is a powerful job. There are quite a few useless jobs among the hidden jobs, such as Dragon Tamer. Yes, Dragon Tamer is one of the 3 dragon hidden jobs, but it is different from the other 2 dragon jobs. Compared with the other professions, the Dragon Tamer needs a dragon to function. Without a dragon, it can't even level up. It's just a waste among wastes. That's right, who is qualified to subdue a dragon? They are all god-level beings. Even if it's Lord Hong Tian, he can definitely kill a dragon, but even Lord Hong Tian can't subdue a dragon. Dragons are notoriously tough. Yes, it is said that more than 10 years ago, a dragon tamer awakened in Kyoto. At that time, Lord Hong Tian valued the talent and wanted to try to capture the dragon, but it was useless. The dragon would rather die than surrender, and even Lord Hong Tian couldn't do anything about it. Could it be that this Death Chanter is the same as the Dragon Tamer, a useless hidden profession? Some people began to gloat. Hee, judging from the situation, it seems so. This time, in addition to the Dragon Tamer and Wizard, the third useless hidden profession, the Death Chanter, has appeared. Some students gloated. Haha, no matter what, that Yi Shu is also a celebrity. He is the first to awaken a new type of useless profession, he may be recorded in history. There are many people who speak with dark thoughts, and there are also many people who are secretly happy. After confirming that Yi Shu's hidden profession only had one skill. Hu Weidi couldn't help but sigh. He didn't expect that the newly appeared hidden profession would be so unbearable. Finally, some high-level figures came over one after another. The strange phenomenon soared into the sky, and the hidden profession was born. Naturally, they couldn't sit still. But, after Hu Weidi's explanation, in the end, these high-level figures took a look at Yi Shu and finally gave up on Yi Shu. Even if Yi Shu awakened a new type of hidden profession. But, for the first awakening, there was only one skill. It was still a waste skill, which was not worth wasting resources to cultivate. For all professions, the main job skills are the king. Yi Shu only had a waste main job skill, which had been sentenced to death by them. After sending away those high-level figures, Hu Weidi walked in front of Yi Shu and finally comforted him. My classmate, although your main job skills are a bit weak, your basic attributes are very good. If you get good skills later, you still have a future. Speaking of this, Hu Weidi himself was a little reluctant to continue. He knew better than anyone how precious the skill book was. Even the lowest level skills start at 1,000,000 dragon coins, which is not something that ordinary people can afford. If you don't have a huge background to rely on, it's not easy to get a suitable skill book. As for exploding in the wild, it's even more impossible. The probability of wild monsters exploding skill books is about the same as winning the lottery jackpot. That's not something that everyone can explode. If you don't have powerful skills, Yi Shu's profession may become an ordinary person in the future. This makes Hu Weidi feel pity, but there is nothing he can do. Hu Weidi left, and the awakening continued in an orderly manner. Yi Shu awakened, and without the top leaders recruiting him, he left the playground on his own. Yi Shu didn't care at all. Although his profession's skills are terrible, the basic attributes of this profession are very strong. For Yi Shu, this is enough. With the system in hand, plus the powerful basic attributes of this profession, the growth attributes must be strong. In this case, Yi Shu is not afraid of failure. Under the ridicule of the crowd, Yi Shu left the playground calmly. After awakening, there will be a 1-month rest period. This month is for students who have successfully awakened to adapt to their skills, as well as practice their levels and combat skills, combat methods, etc. Prepare for the next big test. Yi Shu was shocked to have awakened. He also officially welcomed his vacation. After packing up his things in the dormitory, Yi Shu was ready to go home. Wait a month and come back for the big test. After taking several buses, Yi Shu finally returned to his home. At this moment, Yi Shu, carrying a bag, looked up at the community suburban district in front of him, which is composed of a large number of tube buildings. Suburban district. It is a low-rent housing community built by the government. Yi Shu's home is in this community. This is the place where the government relocated them after the earthquake. As a low-rent housing community, the land utilization efficiency of suburban district is almost close to the limit. Each residential building looks like a huge square concrete pillar, and the spacing between the residential buildings is designed without considering sunlight exposure. This is the community where the poor live. Yi Shu's home is in this old residential building, on the 38th floor of a 40-story residential building. When he arrived in front of the familiar building, Yi Shu took a deep breath and smiled slightly. Then he quickly ran up the stairs. Every time Yi Shu took a step, he took 3 or 4 steps. At this moment, even if he was carrying a heavy baggage, it did not affect him at all. Yi Shu was like a leopard holding prey, swift and fierce. In the blink of an eye, he had reached the 2nd floor. Then the 3rd floor, the 4th floor. Tap, tap. Yi Shu was running, relaxed and flexible, and sometimes made way for residents walking up and down in other corridors. Hey, isn't this Shu? Is it a holiday? Yes, Uncle Zhang. How was the awakening this time? Not bad, Yi Shu answered, and in this time, he went up another floor. His breath was not disordered at all. For Yi Shu, who reached the 1st level of physical fitness, climbing the stairs at this speed was not much different from taking a walk. Moreover, he had long been accustomed to this rhythm. There are 12 households on the 38th floor, and Yi Shu's home is one of them. All the way to the door of No. 9. Click. Take out the key and open the door. Is Shu back? Hearing the sound, an old voice came from the inner room. Hearing this voice, Yi Shu's heart moved. No matter what, there were people at home waiting for him to come back. This made him feel warm in his heart. In this vast world, he still had a grandfather who loved him, and he was not alone. Yeah. Turning around and closing the door, he glanced at the whole house. His house had 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen and a bathroom. He and his grandfather each had a bedroom. Grandpa. Putting down the suitcase, Yi Shu came to his grandfather's room. At this moment, in his grandfather's room, his grandfather, wearing old gray clothes, sat in an old wheelchair and was wiping these things. Seeing Yi Shu coming in, his grandfather looked up, put down the things in his hand, showed a kind smile, and said, Shu is back. Are you hungry? Go watch TV first. Wait a minute, Grandpa will make you something delicious. A few days ago, the government distributed meat, but Grandpa didn't want to eat it, so he waited for you to come back. Grandpa. Yi Shu walked over and called. Grandpa still loved him as always. He had to wait for him to come back for any good things. Inadvertently, Yi Shu's eyes swept over his grandfather's legs, and he couldn't help but feel a pain in his heart. Grandpa. Yi Shu walked into the room, squatted down, and looked at the extremely old man. He smiled and said, "Grandpa, I have grown up and am no longer a child. It's my turn to serve you. I learned some skills in Fizi's restaurant a few days ago. Let me do it later. Please give me your comments." "Okay, my eldest grandson has grown up and can cook for Grandpa." Grandpa laughed happily. Yi Shu touched his grandfather's broad but obviously thin hand and said, "Grandpa, how do you feel recently?" "Child." Yi Shu's grandfather Yi Yuenshin knew that Yi Shu felt sorry for him. He touched Yi Shu's head and said kindly, Shu, don't worry about Grandpa. Grandpa's legs and feet are not good. It's only a matter of time before he sits in a wheelchair. Now he is just adapting in advance." Yi Shu couldn't help but feel a lump in his throat. He almost cried when he saw his grandfather getting older and older. Grandpa was already old. In order to support him, he should have retired to enjoy his old age, but he had to run around all day to see doctors. After all, it was for the sake of raising him up. Although Yi Shu would go out to find a job to earn money to supplement the family income during holidays since he entered high school. But this family has always been supported by Grandpa alone. Now that he has grown up and can be independent, Grandpa. Yi Shu clenched his fists. Grandpa had worked hard all his life and had not had a good life for a few days. He secretly vowed that he would definitely let Grandpa stand up and spend his old age like a normal old man. Instead of sitting in a wheelchair all day, even having difficulty going downstairs. Dragon Blood Potion. No matter how difficult it is, Yi Shu must get it. Chapter 11. That night, after dinner, the grandfather and grandson went back to their rooms to rest. The stars were twinkling. Yi Shu was lying on the bed, looking through the window at the infinite deep space. At this moment, he had already learned explosive fireball technique, which was considered to have a certain means of attack. Next, I will prepare to level up. No matter what, level is king. Yi Shu thought secretly. Since he wanted to rise and pursue what he wanted, he couldn't just sit there. Although he had the assistance of the system, the road to becoming a strong man still depended more on his own efforts. Tomorrow, I will set off and go to the novice area. Finally, Yi Shu made up his mind. Every city has a leveling area. This is a place that the country has confined and is specially used for novice students to level up. There are monsters released by the country. As long as you have successfully awakened a combat profession. As long as you are not higher than level 5, you can go to the leveling area to level up. There are monsters from level 1 to 5 everywhere, which are very suitable for novice leveling. The leveling area in Yanjing City is located in a mountain outside the city. You can go there directly by special car. Every year when awakening is completed, the most lively place is the novice area. A large number of students who have just awakened to combat professions can't wait to go to the novice area to try their skills and practice their skills. One night passed quietly. The next day, Yi Shu got up early in the morning, made breakfast for his grandfather, and then kept it warm in the pot. Grandpa was a light sleeper, and he didn't want to disturb him. After eating quietly, Yi Shu went out alone. Although Yi Shu arrived at the special bus station leading to the novice area early in the morning. But when he arrived, there were already many people gathered here. It seems that Yi Shu is not the only one who is anxious. Others went to the novice area in groups, calling their friends. Only Yi Shu was alone. It was not that Yi Shu did not want to call Chen Fei to join him, but Chen Fei was taken away by the higher-ups. In the next month, there will be someone to train him, and a strong mentor will lead them to a better place to level up. The novice leveling area, to put it bluntly, is for ordinary combat profession students to familiarize themselves with skills and level up. As for those who have awakened rare professions, they are not included. And those top students who have awakened hidden professions will be taken to the wilderness area by the strong for one-on-one tutoring. As for Yi Shu, although he is also a hidden profession, he was ignored. Now, he can only go to the novice area with ordinary combat professions to level up. Yi Shu boarded the train to the novice area alone. Have you heard that in our city, the 5th god of war high school awakened a hidden profession yesterday? I've heard about this a long time ago. It's on TV. How could I not know? Chen Bin from the 5th God of War High School awakened that Night Reaper, a hidden profession of the assassin system. It is said that he has just awakened and has obtained 4 skills, and they are all super skills. Don't forget, there is also Zhang Shenxian. Tisk tisk, which school beauty? That's amazing. Speaking of which, our Yanjing city has a big explosion this year. Chen Bin from the 5th God of War High School and Zhang Shenxian from the 1st God of War High School have awakened the Holy Light Mage, a hidden profession of the mage system. Haha, that's right. This time, our Yanjing city will be proud. Have you forgotten that there is also Yi Shenxian from the 9th God of War High School Shu? It is said that he has awakened the Death Chanter, which seems to be a hidden profession of the mage department, and it is also a newly emerged profession, unprecedented, and the only one in the world at present. Quote, I heard from the students of the 9th War God High School that the Death Chanter is not a useless profession. Yes, the rumor has been flying all over the sky for a long time, and it is said that there is only one skill. No way, a hidden profession has only one skill. Are you kidding me? Even ordinary combat professions have 3 skills. That's right, the one called Yishu not only has only one skill, but it is also a garbage skill. It is said that it seems to be searching for corpses. Yes, I heard about it too. At that time, Principal Hu Whitey personally verified it. The senior figures came forward and didn't like it. Tisk tisk, what a pity. Quote. The other students in the train were talking and chatting, and it was very lively. Yi Shu was sitting in the corner with his eyes closed. Even if he was mentioned, he didn't care. About half an hour later. Ding ding ding. Dear students, the train to the novice area is about to arrive at the station. Please prepare to get off the train. In the carriage, a female voice came from the loudspeaker, and the train gradually slowed down until it stopped. Wow, the carriage door opened, and the students in each carriage got off the train with joy. Outside the station is a huge military fortress. This military fortress is the camp where the state supervises the novice area. If you want to go to the novice area, you must pass through the military fortress. After getting off the train, the students left the station and entered the large military fortress. This military fortress covers a very large area, especially outside the military camp. A large number of heavy and hot weapons can be seen everywhere, and the muzzles are aimed at the novice area outside the military camp. Although this is a novice area restricted by the state, there are occasionally monsters that grow up in it. These military fortresses are set up for those monsters that have grown up. Once a monster that exceeds the standard is found, the military fortress will send troops to eliminate it to avoid causing fatal damage to the new students. Yi Shu passed the military fortress with the students. The soldiers here were holding various sophisticated weapons and waiting for battle. After this group of students entered the military fortress, they looked around one by one, waiting to enter the novice area. Look outside the military camp. Walking into the military fortress, suddenly, a student pointed to the distance and shouted. Everyone looked sideways and saw that outside the high electric fence of the military camp, there were many monsters roaming and roaring. But these monsters didn't dare to approach the military fortress at all. Look, that's a fierce hyena. A student pointed to a group of hyenas wandering in the wilderness in the distance and shouted. Fierce hyenas are a circle larger than normal hyenas. Although they are only level 1 monsters, they are also very fierce. Oh my god, this is the first time I've seen a ferocious hyena so close. Hee, not only to watch, but also to kill them later. The novice students are eager to try. Boom. As the gate of the power grid outside the military fortress slowly opens. Go, I'm getting the experience. Haha, I've wanted to try my skills for a long time, and now I can finally let go and do it. Groups of excited students can't wait to rush into the leveling area, and Yishu also enters it. The level of the monsters in the novice area is not too high. Especially near the military fortress, there are soldiers watching at all times on the military fortress. As long as you don't go deep into it, there will generally be no danger. Therefore, most people will choose to level up near the military fortress. In case of danger, there will be soldiers responsible for guarding to support. And there are only so many monsters around the military fortress. Everyone thought so. Soon, the military fortress was crowded with people, and a large number of new students were chasing those level 1 and level 2 monsters everywhere. Yi Shu didn't stay here for too long. With so many people here, there was no chance to practice skills. He wanted to go deeper. Going to a deeper area, although it was accompanied by certain risks. But there is no gain without risk. It was a waste of time to fight with these people for monsters in the periphery and not get a single one in half a day. Yi Shu walked alone. Without stopping outside the novice leveling area, he continued along the mountain road. He bypassed several places where wild hyenas were entrenched. This place would soon be discovered by other students, and there was no point in leveling here. Yi Shu went deep into the jungle alone for 2 or 3 miles, and finally there was no one or any other students. Hoo-hoo, just stepped into this area. Bushes were densely covered in the jungle. A low roar came. There is a monster. Yi Shu's heart moved. After going deep into the jungle for so long, Yi Shu finally encountered a monster. He walked forward lightly, pulled aside the grass and saw that behind the grass, a huge wild boar was digging there. Wild boar. Looking at the wild boar, Yi Shu immediately activated identification to read the monster's attributes. Identification is a basic ability. In addition to ordinary professions, combat professions and auxiliary professions have this skill. This skill is not considered a professional skill. After Yi Shu activated the identification technique, the attributes of this wild boar were revealed at a glance. Wild boar. Level 2. Strength 12. Agility 5. Spirit 3. Introduction. Wild boars roaming in the wilderness, with little variation. Although they cannot be called monsters, they are also quite ferocious beasts. They are still very dangerous for novices. Wild boars have no skills. Except for their slightly stronger strength, they are very weak beasts in other aspects. Yi Shu was moved and was about to take action. Ding. The system issues a task. Task content, kill 10 wild boars, limited to 1 hour. 0 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Task reward, get a chance to smash a golden egg once. At this moment, the system prompt sounded in Yi Shu's mind. Task. Yi Shu was moved. He had originally planned to take action against the wild boar, but he didn't expect that there would be a task. Naturally, Yi Shu would not refuse such a good thing. Time-limited mission, quick victory. Looking at the countdown that had already begun, Yi Shu immediately took action. Boom. He opened his hand, and a face-sized fireball condensed in his hand in an instant. Boom. Just when Yi Shu condensed the fireball, the wild boar also discovered Yi Shu. Swish. The wild boar turned around, dug the ground, and charged at him without hesitation. In its mouth, the pair of fangs was like a scimitar. If it was hit, it would definitely be uncomfortable. Yi Shu did not dare to be careless. He was very calm. Looking at the wild boar rushing towards him, he saw the opportunity and raised his hand to throw the fireball. Ha! The fireball was thrown out by Yi Shu. The wild boar looked at the basin-sized fireball, ignored it, and rushed over frantically. In its view, this little fireball could not pose any threat to it at all. Voila! The fireball hitting it did not hurt at all, and there was even a hint of disdain in the wild boar's eyes. If it could speak, it might have mocked Yi Shu. But, the next moment, boom! Suddenly, the fireball that fell on it suddenly exploded, and the power was even greater than that of ordinary military grenades, and much greater. The power after the explosion even shook the ground slightly. Yi Shu's basic 50 points of mental power were indeed not for show. The power of this spell was really awesome. Ah! Instantly, the huge wild boar was blown to death. With the power of this fireball, it still owed Yi Shu 2 lives. Tisk tisk. Even Yi Shu was a little surprised by the power. He couldn't help but say to himself, "Oh my god, the power of this move is equivalent to a small bomb." The explosive fireball technique really didn't disappoint me. It's worthy of being given by the system. It's awesome. This is also a reward for a 1-star egg. At this moment, Yi Shu was full of energy. Looking at the charred wild boar corpse, Yi Shu's heart moved. Isn't his job skill called death ingestion? Since it is used to check the corpse, why not give it a try? Yi Shu always felt that his profession was not that simple. Such a domineering profession as death chanter is not related to garbage at all. Looking at the charred wild boar corpse, Yi Shu took a deep breath. He wanted to give it a try. With this thought, Yi Shu directly activated the skill death ingestion on it. When Yishu activated his skill, a black mist spread from his palm and then invaded the wild boar's body. After a while, the black mist dissipated. The wild boar's body was also dissolved by the black mist, leaving only a palm-sized piece of bone. What is that? Looking at the bones left after the wild boar dissolved, Yishu's heart moved. He went forward to pick it up and took a look. This piece of bone was crystal clear, glittering with light, and felt extremely hard. Is this fine steel bone? Yishu was shocked. He had learned about this thing in his studies over the years. Fine steel bone is a very rare material, and only a few powerful monsters have a chance to produce this kind of bone. Fine steel bone is harder than most alloys on the market, and it has good plasticity and high durability. It is the most ideal raw material for making advanced weapons and armor. A good piece of fine steel bone can be sold for one tael of 100,000 dragon coins in the market. Yes, one tael. The fine steel bone in Yishu's hand is definitely of high quality, and can be sold for 100,000 yuan. Yishu weighed it for a while, and this fine steel bone is at least half a pound. Getting rich. This is the most intuitive thought in Yishu's mind. Death ingestion. Yishu's mind moved. This skill is definitely not as simple as checking whether there are any usable items in the corpse. This skill may be able to refine the corpse, and it is refined, and the degree of refinement is beyond the reach of ordinary people. Logically speaking, a level 2 wild boar is absolutely impossible to produce such a good thing as fine steel bone. There is only one explanation: Yishu's skill has a refining effect. After this idea appeared in Yishu's mind, he was not calm. If it is confirmed to be true, then he can be rich. Then his skill is not only not a waste skill, but also a magical skill. A magical skill that can make him rich. With this thought, Yishu can't wait to continue trying. He wants to confirm this conjecture. Throwing the steel bone into his bag, Yishu continued to look for wild boars. Bag. Except for life professions, every student who awakens other professions will open such a storage space. The awakened auxiliary profession will have 5 square meters of storage package space. The awakened combat profession will have 10 square meters of storage package space. The awakened rare profession will have 20 square meters of storage package space. And the hidden profession has the largest storage package space, 50 square meters. As for life professions, it is very sad that there is no package space. And Yishu, as an awakener of the hidden profession, has a full 50 square meters of package space, which is enough for him. Later, when Yishu killed a wild boar again, he used death ingestion but did not get anything. Looking at the wild boar corpse that was dissolved without any residue left, Yishu was suspicious. Could it be that I guessed wrong? Squeak. At this time, another wild boar appeared. Boom. Yishu opened his palm and condensed a fireball. Boom. As the explosion sounded, this wild boar was killed by Yishu again. Afterwards, Yishu did not give up and used death ingestion again, but still got nothing. Next, the third one, the fourth one, until Yishu killed the 5th wild boar and activated death ingestion. Finally, he got another piece of fine steel bone, and this piece was bigger than the previous one. Finally, Yishu figured it out. It turns out that not every wild boar can produce fine steel bone. This is a probability, and the probability is not high. When the countdown reached 0 hours 22 minutes and 15 seconds, Yishu killed the last wild boar required by the task. Ding! Congratulations to the host. Complete the task, kill the wild boar, and get a chance to smash the golden egg once. When the last wild boar was killed by Yishu, the system prompt sound rang again. Swish. At the same time, his level also rose to level 2. This is it. Yishu was shocked. It was natural for him to reach level 2, but there was an extra skill in his skill column. What's going on? Yishu was a little confused. He was sure that he hadn't smashed the golden egg yet, but there was an extra skill. This skill seemed to have been added when he was upgrading. Yishu's heart skipped a beat. He had a guess. Could it be that when he upgraded, he would gain skills? If so, then his profession could only be described as heaven-defying. I said, how could such a domineering profession as Death Chanter be rubbish? Yishu couldn't wait to look at his new skills. Bone Soldier LV1. Consume 1 mental power to summon up to 10 bone soldiers to fight for you. Summoning skills. Yi Shu looked at this skill and thought to himself, I don't know how strong this skill is. Why not give it a try? He did it as soon as he thought of it. Yi Shu raised his hand and used the skill Bone Soldier directly. Buzz. As Yi Shu cast a spell, in front of him, a huge magic circle appeared. In the magic circle, white bone sword soldiers holding long swords crawled out. When all 10 sword soldiers crawled out, caw caw caw. 10 withered sword soldiers lined up neatly and stood in front of Yi Shu, like the most loyal brothers. These sword soldiers have white bones, each of them is 2 meters tall, holding steel swords, and look very majestic. Tisk tisk. Yi Shu couldn't help but smack his lips, looking at this row of sword soldiers. Yi Shu stepped forward and patted the bone sword soldiers. The bones of these guys were very strong, like steel. Look at the attributes. Then, Yi Shu raised his hand and pulled out the attributes of these bone sword soldiers. Bone sword soldiers LV1. Summon. Strength. 80. Agility. 50. Spirit. 30. Endurance. 30. Skill. Bone heavy slash. Instantly burst out 200% strength, and slash the target fiercely. Oh my god. After seeing the attributes of the bone skeletal soldier, Yi Shu couldn't help but say, this little thing has good attributes. The general combat profession may not have this attribute at level 10, but this group of knife soldiers have this attribute at level 1. Tisk. In this novice area, I can't walk sideways. Looking at a wild boar appearing in the distance with a squeak and a squeak, Yi Shu showed a strange smile. Then, he waved his hand. Little guys, go, kill it for me, and bring me the body. Roar. The bone skeletal soldier who received the order roared and rushed towards the wild boar. The speed was quite fast, and the 50 points of agility were really not covered. In a one-on-one situation, the bone skeletal soldier crushed the wild boar, not to mention 10 to 1. In less than 30 seconds, the knife soldiers came back carrying the wild boar's body and threw it in front of Yi Shu. These 30 seconds were probably used to hurry on the road. The experience of the bone skeletal soldier killing the wild boar also belonged to Yi Shu. After all, the bone blade soldier is Yi Shu's skill, just like the explosive fireball. Ha ha ha, not bad. Yi Shu is very satisfied with this group of brothers. Yi Shu can't wait to get the chance to smash the golden egg again. A batch of golden eggs were refreshed today. Although they are all 1 star, Yi Shu didn't complain. Looking at the 5 golden eggs on the system panel, Yi Shu chose one and smashed it directly. After the golden egg cracked, a bronze ring appeared inside. Congratulations to the host, you smashed a 1-star golden egg and got the reward, the item Shadow Ring. Shadow Ring. Equipment. Pop. The ring fell into Yi Shu's hand. He picked it up and saw that it was bronze and looked plain. Look at your attributes. Under the identification technique, Yi Shu soon saw its attributes. Shadow Ring, bronze. Strength, +5. Agility, +5. Spirit, +5. Additional skills. Hidden, no consumption. Enter the invisible state, up to 5 minutes. Skill cooldown, 1 hour. This ring is nice. Looking at this bronze ring, Yi Shu couldn't help but smile, especially the invisible one. Isn't this the ultimate dream of all men? Even Yi Shu is no exception. At this moment, he couldn't help but have a lot of thoughts when holding this ring. Wearing the shadow ring, Yi Shu's attributes were improved again. It's time to leave this area. For me, there's nothing to kill with these low-level wild boars. Let's go a little further inside. With a group of younger brothers, Yi Shu was full of confidence at this time. You know, his younger brothers have no time limit. Either Yi Shu actively removes the skill or is killed, otherwise, they will always exist and obey Yi Shu. It's a pity that this skill will not enter the cooldown when these younger brothers exist. Otherwise, summon a few hundred bone sword soldiers, wouldn't it sweep the novice area? With a group of bone sword soldiers, Yi Shu killed all the way to the depths of the novice area. The monsters he encountered along the way were all cleared by his younger brothers. The attributes of these monsters in the novice area are much worse than those of the bone sword soldiers. 10 bone sword soldiers together, no one can stop them. Along the way, Yi Shu got a lot of good stuff. Although the monsters themselves didn't drop anything useful, the skill Death Ingestion was too powerful. So far, Yi Shu has collected several kilograms of diamond bones. This is a lot of wealth. As he went deeper, with the bone sword soldiers, no monster could stop him. All the way, Yishu also successfully upgraded to level 3. However, this time when he upgraded to level 3, he didn't get any new skills, which surprised him a little. For this profession of his, he still needs time to explore. Roar, roar. Accompanied by waves of terrifying bear roars, Yishu seemed to have entered the deepest part of the novice area. Looking ahead, Yishu stopped. Because a new target appeared in front. It was a wild bear with spikes on its back. Under Yishu's identification technique, he mastered the attributes of this wild bear. Thorn bear, level 5, strength 25, agility 10, spirit 10, skills, claws. The claws of the thorn bear are extremely sharp. If hit by its claws, it will cause 130% damage. Introduction. The thorn bear is a demonized beast that has undergone a serious mutation and has a tendency to break away from the beast. It has super high attack power and often appears in the wild jungle. It has a strong hunting instinct. All living things are their targets, including humans. It is a very dangerous monster. Level 5. Yishu touched his chin and said, "Finally, it looks a bit like a monster." Then, he waved his hand, pointed directly at the thorn bear, and said, "Little guys, come on, kill it." Roar. The withered knife soldier received the order, roared, and rushed towards the thorn bear. The steel knife in the hand of the bone soldier was so powerful that it didn't take many blows. With a wail, the thorn bear fell down. It was no match at all. The attributes were too overwhelming. Yishu shook his head and couldn't help but sigh, too weak. Even if he didn't make a move, his little brother would be able to sweep it away. Yishu stepped forward and launched death ingestion on the corpse of the thorn bear. He would not miss any opportunity to loot the spoils. Hoo-hoo. After a while, the thorn bear was dissolved, leaving a piece of bear skin about half a meter long. Yishu picked it up and pulled it repeatedly. This is a very strong bear skin, soft and elastic. Oh my god, this texture is almost reaching the standard of secondary material. Wow, this piece of skin is worth at least tens of thousands of yuan, rich. Yishu felt happy. Now, he loves this death ingestion more and more. It is simply a magical skill to make a fortune. In the eyes of others, the corpse is of little use, but in his eyes, it is a considerable fortune. Little door, keep going. At this moment, Yishu is like a mountain king, with a group of younger brothers doing evil and wreaking havoc everywhere. Wherever he passes, no grass grows. At the same time, in the military fortress, several big men sat together and talked. They looked at a huge screen in front of them. On the screen, there was a scene in the novice area. These people were actually watching a live broadcast. On the screen, freshmen were trying their best to kill these little monsters. Some were working together, some were working alone. Swords, spears, halberds, cannons, long guns, cold weapons, hot weapons, everything was available, and they were all showing off their skills. Desperately killing monsters, upgrading, and mastering their own skills, they must try to adapt to their profession as much as possible in the shortest time. No one wants to fall behind in the next big test. Well, not bad. Among them, a gray-haired old man in a tang suit nodded and smiled. This batch of freshmen is not bad, they all have a strong drive and ruthlessness, which is very good. Sitting next to him was a middle-aged man in a military uniform. At this moment, he also smiled and said, "Mr. Lee, this time, there are a few freshmen who are not bad, do you want to take a look?" "Okay, take a look." The old man in the tang suit nodded, seeming to be very interested. The middle-aged man in military uniform turned around and waved his hand. Immediately, a staff member broadcast the screen. At this moment, in the screen, a boy is struggling to fight a ferocious hyena. The boy holds a long knife and looks like a warrior. At this moment, he attacks and defends in an orderly manner, fighting back and forth with this group of hyenas. Finally, he suddenly breaks out and cuts off the head of the ferocious hyena with one knife. Although he is also panting and injured, his face is firm and he is not afraid of fighting at all. After a short rest, he continues to search for the next target. "How is it?" The middle-aged man in military uniform seems to be very satisfied with the boy's performance and speaks to the old man. The old man nodded. "Not bad, worth training." The screen turns again. This time, it is a girl. She holds a staff and keeps casting spells. Fireball and ice cone spells fall one after another, hitting the mutant rabbits in front of her and making them scream. Swish. At this moment, a mutant rabbit bypasses her attack and launches a surprise attack on her from one side. HMPH. The girl was not panicked when she saw this. She snorted coldly, turned around and took several steps back. She raised her staff and shouted, "Imprison." Buzz. The mutant rabbit was instantly imprisoned in place. Then, the girl raised her hand to condense a fireball and threw it directly over, killing the mutant rabbit. Stay calm in the face of danger and respond in an orderly manner. Good. The old man in tang suit nodded and smiled slightly. Turn the scene again. Wait a minute. Suddenly, the old man in tang suit stood up and said, "Turn back." At this moment, the old man in tang suit was shocked, because he saw a student leading a group of skeletons to kill monsters. On a hill, Yi Shu is chasing a few thorn bears with 10 bone-slaying soldiers. This thorn bear can produce a kind of excellent leather. And the probability of producing is quite high, much higher than the probability of wild boar producing fine steel bones. Almost 1 out of 3 thorn bears will produce this kind of leather. In Yi Shu's eyes, these are all money. In the military fortress, the old man in tang suit was watching this scene, and he was already shocked. Is this kid a summoner? The old man in tang suit said in a deep voice, "Summoner is at least a rare profession. The prospects are very good. Every summoner is a key training target of the country. I see this kid summons, he is definitely not an ordinary summoner. Controlling skeletons is a bit like the legendary Undead Summoner. Undead Summoner is a top-notch hidden profession. This kid, why is this kind of qualification in this novice area? If I hadn't come here to take a look today out of interest, wouldn't such a good seedling be missed? Are those who are responsible for recruiting people blind?" The old man in tang suit became more and more angry. Looking at Yi Shu commanding a group of skeletons to attack in an orderly manner, he cursed, "Are those special recruits crazy?" Beside him, the middle-aged man in military uniform was also surprised and speechless. At this time, even he couldn't figure out why this happened. On the screen, the boy's ability really shouldn't appear here. Check where the boy came from. The middle-aged man in military uniform didn't dare to be careless and quickly asked someone to check. Yes, an officer responded and turned and ran away. A moment later, which officer came over with a tablet to report. "Chief." The officer saluted the old man in tang suit. "Speak." The old man in tang suit waved his hand. "Yes." The officer put down his hand and said quickly, "Chief, according to the investigation, this person's name is Yi Shu, a student of the 9th War God High School, and the awakened profession is Death Chanter. This profession is unprecedented and is the first time a brand new profession has appeared." Bang. The old man in tang suit slapped the table and said, "Why didn't anyone report this profession? What does Huwaidi do for a living?" The officer hesitated. "Speak." The old man in tang suit was intimidating without anger. "Yes." The officer did not dare to hide it and immediately said, "According to the report, this student named Yi Shu has awakened a hidden profession. But, according to Principal Huwaidi's understanding, this profession is judged to be a second-rate profession and is not considered to be carefully cultivated." Second-rate profession. The old man in tang suit looked at the picture, where Yi Shu was mobilizing the bone soldiers to hunt down thorn bears everywhere. One after another, thorn bears fell under the knife of the bone soldiers under Yi Shu's hands. "You said this is a second-rate profession. Let me ask you, among the new students now, who can do it so easily to hunt down so many thorn bears alone? Can those kids with hidden professions do it?" "Not necessarily." The officer hesitated. The old man in tang suit looked at Yi Shu on the screen and said in a deep voice, "This kid, just awakened, has such a powerful summon. Tell me, is this a second-rate profession? Then, what is a superior profession?" "Commander," the officer said, "according to the report, Yi Shu, the Death Chanter, has only one skill, and it is not a summoning type. The report says that Yi Shu has no redeeming features except that his basic attributes are very strong." Confused, the old man in tang suit slapped the table and said, "How can a hidden profession be seen from the appearance? Hidden professions cannot be viewed with common sense. The basic attributes are very good. Isn't this an advantage? Isn't this a redeeming feature? Death Chanter. The old man in tang suit looked at Yishu on the screen, and finally murmured, "Wait for him to come out and bring him to see me." Yes, Yishu here. He led a group of younger brothers to sweep the novice area crazily. 4 hours. Not only did he successfully reach level 5, and he gained another skill. Now, Yishu concluded that he would have a chance to get a skill when he upgraded. This may be the real scary part of the profession, Death Chanter. What surprised Yishu even more was that the growth ability of this profession was very strong. Now, his level 5 attributes are: Name, Yishu. Profession, Death Chanter. Title, Warrior Apprentice. Level, 5. Strength, 75. Agility, 70. Spirit, 155. Skill, Death Ingestion LV1. Search for corpses and find useful items. Skill, Bone Soldier LV1. Consume 1 mental power and summon up to 10 Bone Soldier to fight for you. Skill, Requiem LV1. Consume 10 points of mental power, lock all hostile targets within a kilometer around you, and cause a magic attack. Tisk tisk. This growth attribute is too awesome. Although my profession is a mage, the growth of thinking attributes is not inferior to any profession. Hey, I knew that the new hidden profession of Death Chanter could not be garbage. Such a powerful growth ability, plus this upgrade has a chance to get the characteristics of the skill. With the assistance of the system, there is no need to worry about big things in the future. Yishu is full of confidence at this moment. Requiem is the skill that Yishu obtained when he reached level 5. This skill is a bit awesome, locking all hostile targets and causing magic damage. The literal meaning alone is already amazing. Lock all hostile targets, what is the concept? This is a magic attack that is forced to hit, and it is also a super large range, which is simply awesome. If it weren't for the consideration of the crowd, Yishu would have tried it. Finally, Yishu led a group of brothers to kill a circle, and he felt that it was meaningless. The monsters here are at most level 5, and monsters of this level are no longer meaningful to him. The withered knife soldiers can sweep them. To put it bluntly, he has already cleared this novice area. After reaching level 5, he needs too much experience to upgrade. The experience points of the monsters here are pitifully small, and they can't satisfy him at all. Here, after all, they are kept in captivity for novices to practice. If you want to develop with them, there is no hope. After harvesting another wave of materials, it is still a long way to upgrade to level 6, and the sky is getting darker. Yishu plans to leave here. There is nothing worth remembering in the novice area. Yishu has an ambition. He wants to go to the wilderness area to try it out. To face real monsters, instead of playing house here. Yishu made a fortune in this trip to the novice zone. Others came to get familiar with their professions, but he came to make money. At this moment, there were quite a few good things in his bag. When Yishu left the novice zone and came to the gate, there were also many students ready to leave. Almost every student was stained with blood, either from monsters or their own blood. Some students were helped out by their friends. There is no such thing as not getting hurt in a fight. Even in the novice zone, it is not as simple as they imagined. This is also the good intention of the country, so that they can understand as soon as possible that fighting these monsters is not a game. They will get hurt, bleed, and even die. This is also a vaccination for them to enter the wilderness area in the future. Each student was less excited when they came, and more calm. Yishu was relaxed, because his battles were basically handled by his younger brother. He hardly fought in person. Even if he did, he would throw fireballs from a distance. Student Yishu. Just when Yishu stepped out of the gate of the novice area, a voice came from not far away. Yishu turned his head and saw a bearded officer walking towards him, smiling and saying, "Yishu, come with me, there is a leader who wants to see you, in the lounge in front." Oh, Yishu was a little confused. Leader, to see me. Could it be that my ability was discovered? I forgot that this is the novice area restricted by the state. Yishu said secretly. For the safety of the students, this novice area is full of military fortress surveillance. In here, everyone's every move is actually under the watchful eyes of others. I am afraid that what I have done here has long been seen. However, Yi Shu is not worried. After all, this is not a bad thing. His ability will be exposed sooner or later. Okay, Yi Shu did not hesitate. This might be an opportunity. Yi Shu followed the bearded officer and walked into the lounge. Entering the lounge, Yi Shu saw at a glance that an old man in a tang suit was sitting on the sofa. Chief. The bearded officer saluted the old man and turned to leave. Seeing Yi Shu, the old man in the tang suit stood up and said with a smile, "Young man, come here." Leader. Yi Shu walked over and called out, "Sit down." The old man in the tang suit pointed to the sofa opposite and sat down himself. Yi Shu hesitated for a moment and sat down opposite the old man. The old man in the tang suit looked at Yi Shu sitting opposite, nodded, and said, "Young man, don't call me leader. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Li Changli, the honorary principal of Shenlong College. You can call me Mr. Li." Shenlong College. Yi Shu was slightly surprised. This was not a great place. "Mr. Li." Yi Shu looked at the old man calmly and said, "My name is Yi Shu. I wonder what the chief wants to see me for." The old man nodded and said directly without beating around the bush, "Young man, is your awakened profession a new hidden profession?" Yi Shu had nothing to hide about this. This matter was not a secret at all, so he nodded openly. "Yes, the profession that the student awakened is called Death Chanter, which is indeed a new profession that has never appeared before." "Very good. Young man, are you interested in joining my Shenlong Academy?" The old man said directly, looking at Yi Shu. "Join Shenlong Academy." Yi Shu was a little surprised and said, "Didn't I get abandoned?" Hee. Elder Li Changli smiled and said, "Little guy, don't play tricks on me. I've seen your performance. I think your profession is not as simple as it seems. Just based on the bones you control, your profession is not simple either. Just based on this skill, you are qualified to join Shenlong Academy." Hey. Yi Shu smiled and said nothing. He knew that his performance was seen by these people. "Young man, let me be frank. I admire you very much. At the same time, I also think you have a very promising future. I think your profession has a promising future. Now, on behalf of Shenlong Academy, I formally invite you to join Shenlong Academy." Elder Li Changli said seriously, "What do you think? Shouldn't you take the exam before joining Shenlong Academy?" Yi Shu asked. He had learned about this before. "Yes, you must participate. But, not everyone is qualified to participate in the Shenlong Academy's exam. Shenlong Academy recruits not many people every year. In the 9 provinces of our dragon country, less than 100 people can enter Shenlong Academy every year." Old man Li Changli looked at Yi Shu and said, "And if you want to enter Shenlong Academy, you must be nominated by Shenlong Academy before you are eligible to apply for Shenlong Academy. Therefore, every year when awakening, Shenlong Academy will send inspectors to various provinces and cities to observe." Yi Shu nodded. He knew this before. "Now, I nominate you. Are you willing to apply for Shenlong Academy? I have investigated you. With your ability, you don't need to consider cultural knowledge. You have no problem. As for combat ability, I think, with your professional ability, it should not be difficult to pass the Shenlong Academy's Secret Realm exam." Yi Shu was silent for a while. If he wants to make a name for himself in the future, going to Shenlong Academy is indeed a perfect choice. Whether it is the faculty ability, teaching ability, or practical teaching, Shenlong Academy is impeccable. The country will allocate a lot of resources to Shenlong Academy every year. Shenlong Academy is the top academy in the entire dragon country, and even in the world. It has the best talents in the country and is full of competitiveness. It is a place where you can learn more and grow faster. After a moment of contemplation, Yi Shu made a decision. He looked at the old man Li Changli and said, "Mr. Li, I accept your invitation." "Okay." Li Changli stood up from the sofa and smiled at Yi Shu. "Good boy, I really didn't make a mistake. I welcome you on behalf of Shenlong Academy. I hope your career will shine in the future." As he said, he took out a red booklet and handed it to Yi Shu, saying, "This is my Shenlong Academy admission notice. After you finish your Yanjing exam, you can take it and go directly to Kyoto to participate in the assessment of my Shenlong Academy. I'll wait for you at Shenlong Academy." "Yes." Yi Shu stood up, took the red booklet handed over by Li Changli, and said respectfully that this old man gave him a chance and deserved his respect. This kind of admission letter is specially issued by Shenlong College. Each one has an independent anti-counterfeiting mark. No one can copy it, and no one dares to copy the admission letter of Shenlong College. Mr. Li, it's okay, I'll go first. Yi Shu scratched his head. He always felt a little awkward staying with such a big shot. Go. Old man Li Chengli nodded. The largest business in Yanjing. Jufu business. At this moment, Yi Shu is drinking tea in the VIP room of Jufu business. He can be regarded as the VIP of Jufu business today. Yi Shu is sitting on the sofa, reading some magazines. Opposite him, an appraiser from Jufu business is lying there, looking at a pile of things on the table, carefully appraising them. These are all the spoils that Yi Shu obtained in the novice zone by relying on his own death ingestion. He came here to sell these things. About 10 minutes later, the appraiser finally sat up. Mr. Yi. This appraiser, named Wu Feng, is a middle-aged man, very tall, with a big back hair, wearing casual clothes and glasses. What's the result? Yi Shu looked at him and put down the magazine in his hand. Wu Feng pondered for a moment and said, fine steel bones and hard skin are both fine products. Fine steel bones of this quality are 100,000 yuan per ounce. The fine steel bones here are 7.3 jin, which is 7.3 million yuan. The price of hard skin is even higher, 200,000 yuan per ounce. Here are 10.8 jin, which is 201.6 million yuan. Together, it's 28.46 million yuan. I can give you an integer, 28.5 million dragon coins. 28.5 million. Even though he was mentally prepared, Yi Shu couldn't help but be shocked. In the first 18 years, let alone 20 million, he didn't even get 20,000 yuan once. It is said that awakening a profession is a turning point in life. Whether it is soaring into the sky or falling into the mortal world, it is at the moment of professional awakening. At this moment, Yi Shu felt it deeply. If he hadn't awakened this bug-like profession, how could he have the opportunity to get such a huge sum of money? Look, for this money, should I swipe your card, or? Wu Feng looked at Yi Shu. Yi Shu came back to his senses. He did have a card, which he had applied for when he was working these years. But his card was just an ordinary card, with a maximum deposit of only 500,000 yuan, and it was impossible to deposit more than 20 million yuan. It seemed that he saw Yi Shu's concerns. Wu Feng smiled slightly and said, of course, you can also spend a certain amount of money to apply for a black gold card from our Jufu business. Our business's black gold card is universal nationwide, and can be deposited and withdrawn in any bank, and there is no upper limit for deposits. I don't need to say that our Jufu has a reputation of tens of thousands of years, so you can rest assured. Thinking of a big customer like Yi Shu, Wu Feng was very patient and smiled for Yi Shu introduced. Besides, you can get so many fine materials, which shows that your profession is not ordinary. I think, with your means, you need such a card. We Jufu are distributed in any country and city in the world. You can trade in any Jufu business with this card. Besides, you can also use this card to buy items online in the mall on our Jufu official website. With this card, all goods will be discounted by 9.5%. Yi Shu nodded. He knew that Jufu business had a reputation of tens of thousands of years. This is a top 5 consortium in the world, with a terrifying number of industries under its umbrella. And the boss of Jufu business is said to be a martial god, level strongman who has lived for 1,000 years. It can be said that he has a lot of background. How much does this card cost to apply for? Yi Shu asked. 1 million, Wu Feng said. So expensive. Yi Shu was a little surprised. Haha, Wu Feng smiled and said, Mr. Yi, we only charged a material fee for this card. Believe me, you won't regret it if you apply for this card. Yi Shu thought about it. He really needs such a card. In the future, he will have many opportunities to deal with Jufu. With the powerful ability of death ingestion, he may have to visit Jufu frequently. Okay, make me one. You can deduct the money for the card from the funds. Yi Shu made a decision, waved his hand, and said proudly. Okay, please show your ID card and communication number, I will go to handle it for you. Wu Feng smiled. This is a normal procedure. Yi Shu naturally had nothing to say. He took out his ID card and the number of his communication device and handed it to Wu Feng. Please wait. Wu Feng took Yi Shu's ID card and turned to leave the VIP room. Yi Shu watched TV in the VIP room. About 10 minutes later, Wu Feng came back. Mr. Yi, your card. He handed Yi Shu a card and his ID card. Yi Shu took the card. It looked exactly the same size as a normal bank card. The black card body felt very comfortable. This card is made of top-grade composite materials. It is impervious to water and fire. I have entered your information. You can use it after you activate it yourself. Of course, no one can use this card except you. Yi Shu nodded. He had heard of the black gold card of Jufu. It was indeed easy to use. Then, after Wu Feng's instructions, Yi Shu activated the card himself. This card is officially activated. Ding! Just when Yi Shu successfully activated the card, his communication device also sent a message on time. Dear Black Gold Card user Mr. Yi Shu, hello, your Black Gold Card has the last number 8662, and on July 18th, 15 hours 25 minutes and 37 seconds, 27.5 million Dragon Coins were transferred to you, and the available balance is 27.5 million Dragon Coins. Holding this card, Yi Shu grinned. This time, he also earned his first pot of gold in his life. After getting the money, Yi Shu left the Jufu business. After getting such a large sum of money, the first thing Yi Shu thought of was not to buy something good for himself. But Grandpa, he definitely couldn't afford the dragon blood potion now. The value of that thing was worth billions. Yi Shu had known about it before. But it was still possible to buy a house. Yes, Yi Shu wanted to buy a new house. He had planned this a long time ago. Grandpa was in poor health and had difficulty in moving. Living on such a high floor, it was inconvenient for him to travel or move around. So, with this money, Yi Shu planned to buy a house first. Yi Shu had just left the Jufu commercial building when he suddenly heard someone calling his name. He looked back and saw a girl in a green t-shirt and jeans looking at him with a smile. The girl had beautiful waist-length hair and was also very beautiful. She was definitely the most dazzling among the crowd. Especially her figure, which was great. Without saying too much, she was definitely 36D. Chen Yanyi, although she is not one of the 3 most beautiful girls in the 9th War God High School, she is more attractive than the 3 most beautiful girls in a sense. Looking at this girl, Yi Shu smiled and greeted, Chen Yanyi, why are you here? This beautiful and charming Chen Yanyi is Yi Shu's classmate, and she is a lively person. She has a good relationship with Yi Shu on weekdays. Because their personalities are actually similar, they get along well. It was yesterday, for some reason, she didn't come when the freshmen awakened. Ha. Chen Yanyi ran to Yi Shu in a few steps, looked at Yi Shu and said with a smile, from a distance, it looks like you, but I didn't expect it to be you. Yesterday, I was delayed by something, and when I went there, you were gone. I heard that you awakened a hidden profession yesterday, and I didn't have time to congratulate you, but you ran so fast. Chen Yanyi smiled lightly, looking indescribably cute. Classmate Chen Yanyi. Yi Shu smiled, spread his hands and said, you are really making fun of me. If you come to make fun of me, then I will not be polite. Haven't you heard that my profession is useless? Tisk. Chen Yanyi chuckled and said, I don't believe that your profession is useless. Your profession is not simple at first glance. I thought about it carefully after I went back yesterday. Death Chanter is a brand new profession that is unique. How can it be determined by just 1 or 2 sentences? Whatever, it will take more than 10 or 20 levels to judge it. Maybe your profession has some hidden characteristics. If you ask me, it's also Principal who was careless. Your basic attributes are so good, it's worth cultivating no matter what. What's more, he didn't figure out the characteristics of your profession before making a decision. Anyway, I don't think it should be like this. Your profession must be extraordinary. Chen Yanyi put her hands behind her back and chuckled. Tell me, where are you going to treat us? Yi Shu looked at Chen Yanyi in surprise. It is said that big breasts mean no brains. This girl, although big breasts are true, is very smart. It is hard to say what my profession is for now. Okay, let's not talk about me for now. Yi Shu looked at her and smiled. What profession did you awaken? Yanyi, this is the friend you mentioned. Before Chen Yanyi could finish her words, a voice rang out from a distance. Crack! A BMW 7 Series car stopped steadily beside Yi Shu. Then, the car door opened with a click, and a young man with good looks but unhealthy white skin came out of the car. It was him who interrupted Chen Yanyi just now. This pale-faced young man had a pair of drooping eyes and a hooked nose. He was not a good guy at first glance. Zhao Jinbo, are you following me? Didn't I say I have something to do? Chen Yanyi looked at this person, frowned, and spoke in a cold tone. The pale-faced young man Zhao Jinbo looked at Chen Yanyi with admiration and said, Yanyi, you said you were going to meet a friend. I want to know who this friend is, right? You are still young and easy to be fooled. I am worried about you. What if you meet someone with bad intentions? As he said this, he looked at Yi Shu intentionally or unintentionally. Enough, Chen Yanyi said coldly. Who are you to me? What qualifications do you have to worry about me? Who am I to you? Zhao Jinbo said with a self-proclaimed handsome smile, I am your fiancé. This is an agreement reached by our two families. Do you think I have the right to control you? You. Chen Yanyi looked at the young man, her face changed slightly, and then she hugged Yi Shu's arm and said, I'm sorry, I already have a boyfriend, and we are very loving. I will talk to my family. Don't waste your time on me. Seeing Chen Yanyi's action, the young man's face sank slightly. Yi Shu was a little confused. He didn't know this young man, but looking at Chen Yanyi's face and their conversation, he probably understood. Chen Yanyi was probably entangled. This dog blood plot again. Yi Shu was somewhat helpless. He seemed to be used as a shield by this girl. However, looking at Chen Yanyi's appearance, she really hated the young man named Zhao Jinbo. Friend, Yanyi is my fiancé. No one can change this. Maybe you had a relationship before, but I hope you don't in the future. A toad should have the awareness of a toad. Yanyi is not someone you can touch. Zhao Jinbo didn't care about Chen Yanyi's tone, but walked directly in front of Yi Shu, looked up at him, and said lightly. The disdain and viciousness in his eyes flashed. Dare to compete with Zhao Jinbo for a woman. In his heart, Yi Shu has been sentenced to death. Zhao Jinbo. Before Yi Shu spoke, Chen Yanyi seemed angry. Looking at Zhao Jinbo, her voice was raised a few points. Zhao Jinbo looked straight at Yi Shu, not moved at all. Yi Shu gently patted Chen Yanyi's hand on his arm, looking at Zhao Jinbo who was a few inches shorter than him. First of all, Chen Yanyi is my friend. It's not up to you to decide whether I stay close to her or not. Secondly, you have no right to manage Chen Yanyi, let alone me. Yi Shu spoke calmly. Don't know what's good for you. Zhao Jinbo looked at Yi Shu and narrowed his eyes. Little brat, I warn you, if you do it now. Just at this moment, the door of the Jufu commercial building opened. Mr. Yi, you really didn't go far. Just at this moment, an excited voice sounded. Yi Shu looked back and smiled. Is it you? This person was Wu Feng who had just applied for the black gold card for him. And next to Wu Feng, there was a woman, a super beauty. She was the type with bright eyes and white teeth and a beautiful face. She had a faint smile, her long hair fluttering slightly, and her beauty in a smile was even more breathtaking. She was tall and dressed in a professional women's suit, with an indescribable aloof temperament, a bit like the aura of a workplace queen. At this moment, several young people entering and leaving the Jufu building were dumbfounded. Oh my god, isn't this Su Qingmu, the vice president of the Jufu Business Bank, Yanjing branch? On weekdays, it's hard to see President Su. Yes, she rarely leaves the building. Su Qingmu, although she is one of the most beautiful women in our Yanjing city, no one has ever dared to pay attention to her. When people around saw this woman, some people whispered. Zhao Jinbo looked at Su Qingmu with fiery eyes, but more of awe, yes, awe. For this woman, he could only fantasize about her in his heart, and he dared not show it. This was someone he could not afford to offend. Zhao Jinbo glanced at Yi Shu and hurried over. Then he bowed to Su Qingmu and said respectfully, Hello, President Su, long time no see, you are more beautiful. Who are you? Su Qingmu glanced at him and said calmly. Haha, President Su is really a noble man who forgets things easily. I am the son of Zhao Tianshang, the general manager of Zongshan Group. Last time, we met at Tianxing Hotel. Oh, Su Qingmu said lightly, oh, and then ignored Zhao Jinbo directly. This kind of small person was not worth her stopping. She walked straight to Yishu and said, "Just now, Master Wu received some things. You helped me, right?" Looking at this imposing woman, Yishu just smiled faintly. Then he said, "Yes, I did trade some things with Mr. Wu just now. Is there something wrong with my things?" Yishu was not overwhelmed by the woman's momentum. In any case, he has lived 2 lives and his psychological quality is much higher than that of ordinary people. Even when facing Su Qingmu, an upper-class person who has been in a high position for a long time, he is still calm as water. That's not the case. Su Qingmu smiled faintly, looked at Yishu and said, "Mr. Yi, right. I just want to ask, where do you get these goods from?" Yishu also looked at her and shook his head. "Sorry, this is a personal secret, no comment." "Boy, you are a little too presumptuous. Who is President Su? If he asks you a question, you'd better tell the truth." At this time, Zhao Jinbo seemed to have found an opportunity to show off, and immediately jumped out and pointed at Yishu. Su Qingmu's face changed slightly and frowned. Is this person here to disrupt the situation? She remembered that Zhao Tianshong was a very smart businessman, but why did he have such a stupid son? Yishu turned around, glanced at Zhao Jinbo, and said, "It's none of your business." "You." Seeing Chen Yanyi still holding Yishu's arm at this moment, Zhao Jinbo was jealous and angry. He pointed at Yishu and cursed. You are shameless, right? Today, even if it's not for me, but for President Su, I will teach you a lesson." Zhao Jinbo, 22 years old, has awakened his profession for several years. Although he awakened only an auxiliary profession, the detectorist, he has already completed the first transformation at level 12. The combat ability is not as good as the combat profession, but he is confident that he can deal with a student who has just awakened. At this moment, looking at this brain-dead Zhao Jinbo, Su Qingmu's face became even colder. She looked at Zhao Jinbo and said coldly, "You want to do things under my banner?" Su Qingmu's tone was very cold. Zhao Jinbo calmed down all of a sudden, reacted, and hurriedly looked at Su Qingmu and said, No, President Su, you misunderstood. I just want to teach this ungrateful thing a lesson. He doesn't even know your words." "Enough," Su Qingmu shouted coldly, looking at Zhao Jinbo, "Get out." "You." Zhao Jinbo looked at Su Qingmu trying to please, his face froze slightly. Su Qingmu looked at Zhao Jinbo and said lightly, "Don't let me say it a second time, otherwise, I will reconsider the business between your family and my Jufu business. Also, I don't want to see you when our business does business with your family in the future." Zhao Jinbo's face changed, although he didn't know where the problem was. But he knew very well that most of their business was related to Jufu. If Jufu really cut off the transaction with them, for the wealthy Jufu it is simply harmless. But for their family, it is a fatal blow. Thinking of this, he didn't dare to say another word. After glaring at Yishu fiercely, he turned around and left. Zhao Jinbo drove away in his BMW. Su Qingmu looked at Yishu again, smiled slightly, and said, "Mr. Yi, there are too many people here, it's not a place to talk. If you don't mind, bring your girlfriend to the reception room with me to talk, how about it?" "Girlfriend?" Yishu glanced at Chen Yanyi beside him and said with a smile, "President Su, I think you misunderstood, we are just classmates." At this time, Chen Yanyi also reacted. She immediately let go of Yishu's arm, her face slightly reddened, and said, "No, that's right, we are classmates." Su Qingmu smiled indifferently and said, "No matter what your relationship is, I just want to know, Mr. Yi, can you talk to me?" Yishu looked at her, thought for a moment, and nodded, "Okay, talk. Anyway, he will have many opportunities to deal with Jufu in the future. It's not a bad thing to have a good relationship." Then, under the leadership of Su Qingmu, Yishu followed her into the reception room of Jufu. And Chen Yanyi also followed curiously. In the reception room of Jufu, Su Qingmu got straight to the point and said directly, "Mr. Yi, I won't beat around the bush. Those things you have are the best among the first and second level materials. They are not available through ordinary channels. Only monsters above level 20 have the chance to drop steel bones and hard skin of that quality, and the probability is very low. You can take out so much at once, I believe you have your own way. You said this is your secret, so I won't ask. I want to ask you, will you have materials of this quality for sale in the future? Su Qing looked at Yi Zumu and said slowly. Yi Shu was also looking at Su Qingmu, who was sitting opposite him. Su Qingmu was wearing a women's uniform with a slightly low collar. After she sat down, a touch of snow whiteness loomed in front of her, especially the slight groove that made people lost. Such an attractive scene, even Yi Shu had a moment of blood boiling. Cough. Yi Shu quickly reacted and coughed slightly to cover up his embarrassment. He. Chen Yanyi, who was sitting next to Yi Shu, felt the abnormality of Yi Shu and hummed softly, pouting her lips. Yi Shu stood up and stopped looking around. He said to Su Qingmu, "To be honest with President Su, I can still take out this kind of thing in the future. As for how much, I can't guarantee it. Maybe a few taels, maybe a few kilograms, it's hard to say." After hearing what Yi Shu said, Su Qingmu looked happy and said, "In the future, if you have this level of material again, can you give priority to selling it to me, Jufu?" The quality of the materials Shu brought out was so good that even she was tempted. She noticed it when Wu Feng handed the materials to her. As a level 25, second turn rare auxiliary profession, Spirit Eye Master. Her vision is sharper than any appraiser, because she has the unique appraisal skill analysis in the world. With this skill, any material can fully show its good and bad essence. That's why she insisted on cooperating with Yi Shu. The quality of the materials sold by Yi Shu is so good. Materials of this level in such a large quantity, as long as they are used well, will definitely be a lot of wealth. As for the materials sold by Yi Shu at present, she is sure to multiply the profit of these materials several times, and it is pure profit. If this profit can be sustained, she will certainly not give up easily. That's why she found Yi Shu. Yi Shu thought about it briefly and nodded. "Okay, your reputation of Jufu is still trustworthy. I feel at ease doing business with you." "Okay." After hearing what Yi Shu said, Su Qingmu stood up directly, smiled, stretched out her fair and slender little hand, and said, "Then I wish us a happy cooperation." Yi Shu also stood up and stretched out his hand to shake hers. Su Qingmu's hand was soft and warm, but Yi Shu just shook it politely and then withdrew his hand. "That's right." Finally, Yi Shu looked at Su Qingmu and said, "Does President Su know where there are reliable houses?" Su Qingmu paused and looked at Yi Shu. "Do you want to buy a house?" Yi Shu nodded. "That's what I mean." Su Qingmu smiled faintly and said, "We Jufu also have real estate business. I wonder what kind of house you want, Mr. Yi. I can introduce you." Yi Shu thought for a while and said, "Houses with convenient transportation, good air quality, and suitable for the elderly to live in. It is best to have certain security conditions. Do you have any?" "Yes." Su Qingmu nodded and said, "We Jufu have newly developed a batch of villas in South City. This batch of villas, whether it is security or accommodation conditions, are first class. This batch of villas has actually been sold out long ago. But there are still a few internal quotas. If you need it, I can give you one for our cooperative relationship." Villas developed by Jufu. Yi Shu was a little tempted. Villas developed by top forces like this are definitely not bad. "How much?" Yi Shu asked. Su Qingmu stretched out a white finger. 100 million. Yi Shu asked. "No." Su Qingmu smiled lightly. 1 billion, this is still the internal price. 1 billion. Yi Shu opened his eyes wide, then shook his head. Forget it, this is not something I can afford, goodbye." After leaving the Jufu building, Yi Shu and Chen Yanyi were strolling on the street. Chen Yanyi turned her head and looked at Yi Shu. "Do you want to buy a house?" Yi Shu put his hands behind his head and said, and said, "You also know the situation at my home. Grandpa's health is getting worse day by day. The accommodation conditions in the suburban area are too poor. No matter where he lives, Grandpa is not only inconvenient to move, but also has no chance to stretch his muscles. Yi Shu, don't buy a house for the time being." Chen Yanyi pondered for a long time, turned around and looked at Yi Shu, and said, "Why?" Yi Shu looked at her. Chen Yanyi said directly, "Because the big exam in a month is an opportunity." "Big exam?" Yi Shu asked in confusion. "What does this have to do with the big exam?" Chen Yanyi looked at Yi Shu, took a deep breath, and her proud 3060 trembled slightly, and said, "Shenlong College." Shenlong College. Yi Shu was stunned. What does this have to do with Shenlong College? Chen Yanyi said directly. As long as you can successfully enter Shenlong College, you are eligible to live in Tianai District. Tianai District? Yi Shu was surprised. That's the military district family community. Chen Yanyi nodded. Yes, Tianai District is the military district family community, where it is protected by the National Army. Whether it is the geographical environment or security, there is nothing to say. No one dares to make trouble in Tianai District. There are the most advanced medical, entertainment, and leisure facilities there. As long as you can enter Shenlong College, Grandpa can live in Tianai District. No matter how good other places are, can they be as good as Tianai District? Chen Shu was slightly stunned. He really didn't know this. Shenlong College was originally his goal. He now holds the admission letter from Shenlong Academy. As long as he passes the assessment, he can enter Shenlong Academy. Although it is difficult to apply for Shenlong Academy, I believe you can do it. Chen Yanyi looked at Yi Shu. Yi Shu was a little surprised and said, "You believe me so much?" Chen Yanyi chuckled. It's not that I believe in you, but you should believe in yourself. You have awakened an unprecedented profession, Death Chanter. Shouldn't you be confident? Yi Shu nodded. He himself was determined to win Shenlong Academy. If it can allow Grandpa to live in Tianai District, then he must give it a try. If Grandpa can live in Tianai District, then he will have no worries. Yi Shu looked at Chen Yanyi and smiled. I didn't realize that you, a girl, are also good at talking. Hee hee. Chen Yanyi chuckled. Then what are your plans next? Yi Shu touched his chin. Of course, it's to prepare for the next big exam. What do you say? What do you say? Chen Yanyi seemed very excited. Yi Shu thought for a while and said, I plan to go to the wilderness area for training for a while. Go to the wilderness area for training. Chen Yanyi was a little surprised and said, Wild area, you dare to go to the wilderness area now? Why not? Yi Shu glanced at him and said, It's impossible to train in the novice area. There is nothing there. Death Chanter is really extraordinary. Chen Yanyi murmured. What did you say? Yi Shu looked at her. Nothing. Chen Yanyi chuckled. Then take me with you. You. Chen Shu looked Chen Yanyi up and down. Hey, where are you looking? Chen Yanyi stomped her feet. Ahem. Yi Shu retracted his gaze and said, Are you sure you dare to go? Chen Yanyi showed off her proud 3060 and said, If you dare, why shouldn't I? Yi Shu laughed and said, Until now, I still don't know what your profession is. You are not a life-related profession, right? Tisk. Chen Yanyi curled her lips and said, Who are you looking down on? I awakened a rare combat profession. Although I can't compare to you, a big boss with a hidden profession, it's not bad, right? Rare profession. Yi Shu was a little surprised. Aren't rare professions supposed to be taken away by the top management for training? When Lin Ran and Chen Fei awakened rare professions, they were taken away on the spot. Why can this girl run around everywhere? Tell me about it, Yi Shu asked as he walked side by side with Chen Yanyi. He was also a little curious about this girl's profession. Chen Yanyi chuckled. Listen carefully, the profession I awakened is sniper, a profession for hunting targets from a very long distance. Although it is not a hidden profession, it is also very powerful. Yi Shu nodded. Super long-range sniping, this profession is indeed good. How about it, take me with you. Let's talk about it later. Hee hee. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.